Alrighty, everyone. Welcome to the Quack podcast. I'm your host, Spidercides, and here with me is the one, the only, Mackleby. No, I'm just kidding. It is Matthew. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. The disappointment that must come when it's just little old me.
No, not a chance. Not a chance. No, I think it's gonna be a good one. I'm excited. We got a tons of people in the chat here. We got W, we got Connor, we got Active Girl, we got Skeffridge. Thanks to everyone that continues to support. We got Groot that just walked in here. Thanks to everyone that has come out to all these episodes. And Matthew, thank you for taking time out of your busy week and supporting the podcast as well and being my guest.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And before we, talk anything about me, congratulations on your Creator Circle news this week.
Oh yeah. It's it's funny. Everyone's been so kind and so like I've been getting messages and tags and all that. I'll be honest. When I got the email in the beginning of the week, I actually didn't respond right away. I waited a full day before responding because I know what that role brings to the table. It's a lot of work. It's free labor essentially. Like let's be honest, right? And I
Hmm.
thought to myself, well, if I don't do it, what if they make a bad selection, or what if like what type of impression do I make if I say no to this? So I'm just like, you know what? Let's just see what happens. Let's do it. Let me just dive in there, but I'm gonna still do my streams and stuff. So I appreciate your kind words, and I appreciate everyone like that's been so nice. And we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I do like the fact that, and I think if people were wondering, is Dovak staying? The answer is yes. He is still a part of the creator circle. Actually, all of the original ones are. So if in case anyone's wondering, the team has officially grown. So I think that's some good news.
Nice. Yeah, that definitely is. I'm sure he's glad to have your support as well.
No, fuck Dovak. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I don't know if he's watching this stream. I was talking to him on Discord, but anyways, I'm sure he'll listen to to it after. But yeah, no, we'll see what happens. And by the way, for anyone watching and listening, if you have anything and feedback that you want to see as an event or a campaign, actually, there's been a rule. I'll say it publicly here. We're not allowed any 4 week campaigns. So maybe Sioux Lake is going to do something of their own, but officially, creator circles are not allowed any long form campaigns. I don't.
Good, I
Yeah,
say. To me, I like give me short and we have the attention, we have the TikTok attention span, right? Like
100%.
4 weeks is, and I love Dovak, and I've told him this straight up. I was like, it's too long for me to stay invested in something. Like week
Yeah,
two, I'm bored. Give me short form, in, out, have fun. So
100%.
that's good. That's good news.
Yeah, so at least that's a good change, and we're trying to just coordinate. They're going to give a spotlight to the newbies like myself, and I'll take feedback. And by the way, everyone, I'm not perfect. Like I wrote in the letter that they happen to just post on the website, so there's people that don't even know that I've that I've gotten this. But just let me know, like whatever you want to see, I'll do my best, and we'll play it by ear, and we'll have a good time. And I want to incorporate. I think this time a little bit different to Dovak. I want to give my own spin to it. I want to incorporate more streams involvement. So kind of like what Matthew had done with the Boba.me like Habbo would. Like events, like how you did a stream, you kind of spotlighted that event. I want to do something
Yeah.
similar. I feel like that's fun. It's exciting. It's different.
Yeah, that's the way to go. And good luck. We will watch and we will give feedback. No pressure.
100%, and I'm expecting all the hate, all the alts, everyone, and but we'll have a very good time. But enough about me, enough about the creator circle. First things first, Matthew, you are very popular in the community. Like, if people don't know who you are, they're probably new. Let's be honest. Now, in terms of who you are and your history with Habbo, when did you start playing? Like tell us a little bit about your history.
Oh, I looked back earlier because I do genuinely have the memory of a goldfish. So thank God for like the internet recording everything. But it logs my Habbo as the 25th of July 2001. And I believe that was my second account because I locked myself out of my first, but literally must have only had it for a few months because when I do the backward math, that would have made me 12 years old whenever I signed up. So 24 years ago, which is wild. And I couldn't even tell you like how I find it or how I came across it. I just remember it being there and being excited to like get home from school and log in and play. Um, and then as I look back, I was like, actually my history with like fan sites and stuff seemed to always have been a thing because through Habbo Ages, I found my first Habbo fan site, which was hosted on a thing called 8m.com. And it was created in August 2002.
Wow.
Um, and it was basically the Habbo layout. I'd like ripped it, um, wrote like it even had like still the links to like the Habbo Way and stuff, and then just like links to like other people's sites, like Red Velvet and Bish Bosh and all these people from back then. And then in February 2003, I bought my first domain name, which is nuts because I was like, what, 14 or 15 then?
Wow. Wow.
Um, and the domain name for that was bobbleworld.com.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's
bobbleworld.com. And you can go on Wayback Machine and you kind of can see me like getting continually pissed off with myself because I'm like, I need help. I need staff on my site. And then obviously nobody came forward. And I was like, I'm gonna have to close the whole thing down. And then it became a Christina Aguilera fan site for a while. And then it became a Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan site for a while. And then
wow.
it went back to being a Buffy fan site. So I guess I always loved that aspect of it, like the technical aspect, the kind of creation of some sort of content. Um, and then, when I look back then, I think I must have been like on and off because in 2016 I started writing for Habbox.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because there's an article there that I wrote called Eight Things Old Habos Can Relate to. And it was all things like the big hand, the purse, the rheumatic, dive-in, thrones, all of those things that like Habbo Origins has brought back for us. And I knew like when I think about when I wrote that, I was writing that because those were the things that I missed. So yeah, but at that point I wasn't playing like Habbo religiously. I dipped in on again every few months to see what there was, keep the account alive. Um and then Origins happened, and here we are.
And then when did you like how did you hear about Origins? Like I know there's been a few advertisements like last year on like TikTok and it was in the hotel on the modern hotel. Like where did you hear it?
I think, and again, like my memory is horrendous. But I literally think as I say, I was checking in every so often, and then it was in like the month or two leading up to it, that Habbo they were having like teases and throwbacks, and
Mm-hmm.
they were posting. It was like what do you call it? Like rips in the public rooms that looked like alternate universes or
Oh
something,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
Ratchet
yeah,
and
yeah.
Clank kind of
Yep,
thing.
yep,
And I
yep.
was like, what is all this about? So I just kept an eye on their Twitter account, and then that was when they kind of said it's coming back. And I was there in the first few minutes. The name Matt was already taken, Matthew wasn't, so I managed to grab it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, when I started on the Origins, when they announced the date that it was launching, I know everyone was doing the same thing. Okay, I need to get the username that I want, right?
Yeah,
Before someone else does. And I was trying to get because I used to be colon Latino colon on modern. And I
yeah.
ended up changing that. I was trying to get Latino without the colons because I just hated colon. I hate any sorry for anyone that has it, but I personally do not like any usernames with dots, colons. It just doesn't look good, in my opinion.
I hate the word colon.
Oh, or that
I
too.
don't. I hate that word.
And when it comes to the username, I didn't get what I wanted, and then I ended up starting the game as like colon Latino colon, and I was just like, you know what? All my social media is Spidercides. I need to, you know what? I'm changing this. I'm gonna switch over. So it's yeah, an active girl in the chat, not the colon. But yeah, I'm very interested in your journey because you started many years ago. You almost have the crown, the 25th year crown. I know how badly you want that, and you'll be one of the few people that will have it. For anyone wondering, they were giving what is it, 10 year, 15 year, 20 year, and 25 year anniversary crowns for anyone who has it.
Yeah.
And you're close. You're right there, man. You're right there.
Yeah,
I'm at the
another
20.
10 months or something like that.
That's huge. That's huge. And
Which will be no time in coming around when we look at how quickly the last like 14 months have gone.
it's crazy to think about that the game has already been here for over a year, right? And it's
Yeah.
changed. Like if you look at this game now and compare it to last year, it's a night and day difference. If the game actually launched with what it is now, I would have assumed that it would be more successful than what it was last year.
Yeah, I I say, I mean, I've always been very, very vocal, as many will know, and I've said from the beginning that I very much believed everything was in like soft launch mode, and I think it was remiss of them not to kind of say it was better, because that's what it feels. I feel like we're just coming up to launch. I feel like
Yeah.
whatever the Steam launch looks like, or whatever all this marketing that's happening now leads to, I feel like that is the launch. And I feel like everything we've been doing up until now has just been the dress rehearsal for that. And it was an awful thing to say, but when people are like, I quit, and the
Mhm.
numbers are going down and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, they really probably don't care that much, because if 10 people quit this week and everyone thinks it's the end of the world, but
Yeah.
1,000 people start playing next week when it all kind of kicks off, then I don't think they're going to be that upset about pandering to the 10 people that quit. And I know that sounds horrible and all that, and all those people as individuals I'm sure are lovely, but the reality is, if the plan goes the way that they have been describing the plan, um the launch is still yet to come, I think.
And I agree with you. I think if they called it a beta, kind of like Fortnite when they started out years
Hmm.
and years, they weren't official until like a number of years ago. And I agree when people quit, and I'll say this out loud. I was thinking about it in my head when you were talking, but you know me, I'm gonna speak out loud. For people that quit, let's be honest, they're always gonna come back. Yeah,
Yeah, nobody has quit.
I'm gonna call you out, Kaya, Fano, with your long messages saying you're gonna quit. Now look who's in gardening right now, Kaya. Who's gardening now. But jokes aside, I think the game was definitely in the beta stage. It's unfortunate all of the bumps it went through and all the confusions and the different Habbo staff members trying to support where they could. But I think now we're almost there. Like we're
Yeah.
seeing over the mountain a little bit and the possibilities. And I think what matters more than anything is the core community. You know what I mean? Like if the core members are still here, like yourself, myself, W, everyone in the chat, all of the different groups of the fan sites like Bubba.me, there's Ducky World, there's Rock Habbo, there's DJs, there's all these people. As long as we still are the core group that are still here, who knows what can happen next, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be more. I think Sulik would care more if people like yourself, big individuals that make a difference. Like let's say Dovak. Let's say Dovak suddenly quit. Like things like that. Bob Barker. I think it could make a little bit of a ripple.
Yeah,
But
but I mean,
it's
this is the other thing. If if I was to down tools tomorrow, right, and decide I'm not logging in,
Mhm.
I will not make a song and dance about it. You will just see me
True, true,
play less and less and less, right? And
true,
I think that is the people who sadly we have kind of lost and they've tailed off.
true.
I make a joke when I quit like Discord or whatever. I'm like, I have left Discord and make a whole song and dance. But if I was to genuinely stop playing the game, like I don't even know that I would stop playing, right? Like I
Mhm.
have the, modern Habbo. I wouldn't say that I'm a regular player, but I still logged in like once every 6 months to see what
True.
was happening. So I never
Same.
quit. No Man's Sky, right? A game that I was massively involved in. And prior to this, like similar kind of role in the community. And I looked after the Discord and everything for No Man's Sky. And I would never say I've quit it. I don't know life it. I don't play it every single day for 6 hours a day. I
Mhm.
play it maybe once a month when there's a big update or something. But I never have quit. I've never quit any game. There's games I don't play anymore, but I didn't
I see what you're
quit them, and I don't
saying.
think it needs to be like a dramatic, I'm
Announcement.
never coming back, because if I stop playing today and then in week's time they release, I don't know, Lady Gaga furniture, you can be damn sure that I'm going to be back in the hotel looking like an idiot because I've said I quit. And
Yep.
I'm not going to look like an idiot. I'm not going to close that door on myself.
And you know what, you took the words out of my mouth. Like, that's the reason I would never, if I were to leave this game, I would never officially announce it. I would just do my own thing. Like, I'm gonna play Destiny 2 or Destiny Rising or any other games that I'm into, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
because I don't want to be the person that comes back and everyone goes, you said you quit, you wrote this big letter, you did a giveaway, you did this, and now look who's crawling back, type of thing. Like, I don't want to
It's
be like caught.
embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't want to
It's
be caught in that.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
I literally say, I will not name call, but I've seen people on Twitter this week asking for people to donate them things because they're coming back. They're like, I'm coming back, but I'm so far behind because I didn't play and I gave everything away. Can you donate me furniture? Like, no,
Hmm.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then it's just, I think it's embarrassing. I'm like,
Yeah.
just you don't you don't have to know life this game to be considered a regular, but also you don't have to announce if you're not gonna know life it. If I'm gonna have a few weeks off and I have done. I had, over
Yeah.
I think it was like late January. I completely got into Disney Dreamlight Valley again. I didn't look at Habbo for weeks. Um, but I didn't, nobody even knew because I hadn't made a big deal about it. I still posted the Funky Fridays and,
Hmm.
rares or whatever when they come up. And that was all it kind of needed. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably enough on quitting. But if you are watching and you're thinking about quitting, just don't feel the need to tell everyone because you'll be
No, no, no,
back.
no, no.
I know you'll be back.
Don't listen to Matthew. If you're thinking about quitting, quit and give me all your Fernie. I have two donations room ready for you, all your Fernie. All right, so quit.
Why do you have two?
I have one for events and then one for myself. But
Oh,
the one
fair
for
enough, fair
myself
enough.
is empty, and then the one for events are actually full. So I'm kind of screwed. But worry about me first. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, enough about people quitting and stuff like that. But in terms of the Origins game, overall, we've agreed that it was in the beta stages in the beginning. It's looking good, especially after today with gardening. What's your thoughts been on gardening? I know you've been dabbling there a
Um,
little bit.
yeah, I mean, obviously I did the trial, as everyone did. I mean, I I love to see any new feature in the game that didn't exist and that Habbo haven't done yet. I kind of love that we have something unique to Origins, and I love
Hmm.
seeing there's just something really special about seeing like these new user interfaces and stuff in the old kind of Shockwave skin that we've never seen. Even if it did come to Habbo today, it would look completely different. So I love seeing
Yep.
this old style revived. Um, it's not something that I'm going to hyper fixate over. I'm not one of those people that cares about watching like numbers go burr. I know
Hmm.
for some people that's like the end goal and they love that, and I love that for them. It's not for me. I want the furniture. I think it's really really cute. But to me, Habbo's a social game, and during the trial, I was just sitting in a locked room. Don't annoy me. Don't come to me. I'm
That's
watering
what
my
I was
plants.
doing
I
too.
don't want to
Yeah.
talk. I'm in work. I'm not focused on Habbo. I'm just clicking. Um, and fishing similarly. But I do think maybe as this one goes on, there'll be, longer periods of time between like say watering cycles or what have you. And you won't feel as precious maybe about sitting right next to your plant and making sure it doesn't die. But in these early days, it feels like there's too much at stake when they're in those like growing phases and they can die. Nobody wants to leave their room in case.
True.
So
That's valid.
so
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's great. I love to see anything that, takes the game, and it's given people more ways to play because it is a social game, but actually
Hmm.
now if you're not like a social person and you just like watching pretty flowers grow, there's a game for you and it's
And it's
here
free.
and it's
And it's
easy and
free,
it's a
right? You
mental
don't have to.
clicker and
You
it's
don't have to.
free.
Yeah, it's free, and I think that's the best part about it. And funny enough about fishing, I was in the Modern Hotel because you and I still play that hotel, right? And I was like
Yeah.
walking around, and I actually saw people complain that fishing is in Origins and not in Modern. They're like, why does that hotel have fishing and all these other mini games? Why do we have this wired game here? Like, we should be getting that. And I loved it. I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like, we're finally getting graced, like, we're kind of getting appreciated for like what we have in this hotel, which is it would have been rare,
Yeah.
right? So I think it's good. I think everyone knows my opinion on gardening. At first, I ripped on it a little bit, just talking a little shit. But I don't mind it. Like I could have gone either way. Like I don't really care for it, but I'm not against it. I voted yes, even though like I was like whatever for it. But overall, I think in terms of gardening, I'm in my room. I'm in my locked room doing my thing. But I also want the Fernie for for some room comps that I'll lose in, and so I'm always ready for that. It's funny. I said it earlier. I said the competition today that myself, Kai, Eventual, and Venom won the dancing video. I said that this is the first competition the first Sule competition that I've won, but no one entered. Problem is, that's not even. I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not even a Sule competition. That's a Creator Circle competition. I still have not won a Sule competition. I've won.
Actually, just putting that together, that was a member of the Creator Circle winning a Creator Circle competition.
Yeah. It's funny. If I was
And
against anyone else, anyone would have been like, rigged, rigged, rigged.
it was such a shame that there wasn't more involvement. I know why there wasn't more involvement in that. I wasn't putting the time or energy.
I think I just lost you.
I can
All
hear
right.
you again.
I can hear you too. All right. That was weird. I've never had that happen to me, like ever. So that's
I finished my sentence and then I was like, oh my God, I've said something really bad because there was just silence. And I was like, I've actually gobsmacked him.
no, 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 no. You're good. You're good. So we're back, everyone. Minor technical difficulties on my side. This is not on Matthew, so don't rip on him in the comments. He did not ruin anything. But that was weird. It just automatically stopped, and I had to just restart it. But at least we're back.
Maybe it was the gods saying, please, Matthew, don't say anything.
You don't know. It was Sue Lake because I was talking shit right now that I haven't won a competition, and it suddenly just broke right after the fact. But I will say I think you were talking about the number of submissions in Dovak's competition, right? So yeah, if you just want to touch on that because I obviously didn't hear that part.
I just think it was disappointing is all, and I hope it doesn't like set a precedent for like participation levels going forward. And I'm not sure. Is it? I think for me, the reason I like when we submitted a group, and then the reason we didn't participate was it was just such a big ask for, a prize that was so small. I guess it was more involved than some of the things where you take away like supers, right? The 3 costume changes, full video edits, music, blah blah blah. So, and that's obviously no shade at Dovak, who doesn't choose the prizes, but I was like, I will swipe my credit card quicker than I will put all that together for not exciting a prize, if that makes sense. So hopefully it doesn't like set a precedent. Either the prizes need to get better, I guess, or the requirement to enter needs to go lower. I guess it's one of those two things to get that participation level back.
So to touch on that, I'll give 2 opinions to that. Number one, like before everything, like I'm actually very happy that happened because number one, I won. So I'm very happy there. But number 2, it actually shows Sue Lake, hey, look, people aren't going to enter or spend their time in this game unless you give more in these prizes, right? I don't want any of the Creator Circle. I don't want to feel like I need to lower the quality of any event, right? Because I thought Dovek's idea was cool. Like I'm like, all right, cool. We got to be in a group, do a dance number. It was like a better version of what's Matilda did with the one from last year, with the swimming video, right? So I thought it was like, okay, this is fun. This is different, right? But the prizes need to improve. So Sue Lake needs to just step it up a little bit because I don't want anyone to like lower down their quality because of the prizes because then we're just turning into like a weekly Alexander like event, or, you know what I mean?
True.
It's just not, because I don't enter in those because of what you just said, because of the prize. I don't care about the weekly rare. I'd rather just buy it myself if I really want it. Right?
Exactly. There's no amount of rares will make me go through those queues or lack of. But yeah, I think that was it. I think the idea was like good, but I was like, I'm not putting that level of effort in. And even when I seen the lack, because you kind of like can get a feel for like the hype around it or how many entries there are on Twitter or whatever. And I was like, if I snuck something in here last minute, I think there's probably like a guaranteed placement here at least. And then I was like, even that is still just too much effort for what the prize was. And as I say again, not on Dovak at all.
Yeah.
Just I did, yeah. And I always said to people, I've said from day one, if you don't like the prize, don't enter. And so that's kind of, I practice what I preach, because I think really
Hmm.
early on, and it was like, you win the Halloween competition, you get 10 credits and norms or whatever, and you don't get a badge, and people were kicking off. And I was like, look, if you don't like it, it's there on the article. If you don't like it, just don't enter. There's no point in entering and then crying about it after.
Hmm.
That's not sending the message. You just don't enter.
100%.
So
I
yeah,
agree.
I think you're right. Maybe that does send a message.
And I hope it does. And we've shared that feedback already. So thankfully, with a group of 6 of us now, where there's more voices, so hopefully we can collectively be heard. But
Yeah.
for anyone listening, if you do not want to enter in any future room competition, so I have a chance to win my first Hammer trophy, I am truly supportive of that idea. All right. So
I
uh,
still don't think you'll win. I think it's
wow,
just they would
that
just
is
go, no, we didn't get
crazy.
any.
Did you
Not
just
because
say
of your
that
bills.
live?
I think they've just blacklisted you. I think they'll just be
You know what's
like, no,
funny?
we
You
had
say
no
that.
entries.
I'm not even lying to you. I actually talked to Morgana, and I actually had to ask her. I'm like, do you guys get my submissions? Like, do you actually like? I just want to make sure. Am I submitting this okay? Like, do you actually see them? Like, I get it. It's
In
subjective. I'm
in a
not gonna
way,
lie.
that's almost worse if she's like, yeah, we saw them.
And
Yeah, we saw them.
she did. She responded back. Yeah, everything's good on our end. I'm like, damn, damn. All right, sounds good. No worries. Appreciate it. No worries. But no. At the end of the day, there's been some great builders. Let's be honest, right? Samya is a superstar. Frankie, there's so many great builders. So I get it. But I'm
I
gonna prove you
mean,
wrong one
yeah.
day. I'm gonna get one hammer one day. One day, I have faith.
I don't know. I think we just set the bar too high too quickly. Like, I mean, I have not made a secret of the fact that I do not like big rooms, right? And I don't know whether it's
Yeah.
just my old eyes now and I'm an old man and I can't see the detail. And like, I remember being on a stream and like people being like, "Can you look at my room?" And I was going in, I was like, "Uh, what is? I don't know what this is." And they're like, "Oh, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and it's a river and it's a waterfall." And I was like, I just see a blur. Like, give me a good small room, proper Habbo nostalgia vibes. The room builds are incredible, and the time that
Yeah.
people put into them and everything are incredible. But to me, they're just not. I don't know. Like, they're just not Habbo to me. Like, we're too creative. We're too creative for my liking. I like a nice, simple, plain room with plasto pods in the corner and some area tables to the side. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a old man, I think.
No, and I think it's fair. Like, I personally don't think large rooms should compete with small rooms. And I've
Yeah,
said that countless times. It's not fair to anyone. And let's be honest, realistically, you can't compare the two because the effort is different, the style is different, the engagement is different. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? But I will
yeah,
say I like that they've started to create more rules. Like, for example, the Horizons prerequisite, like the requirement in order to actually participate. Although I don't know how I feel about the pay to participate type of metric, but I am glad that there's something different, right? It's something more focused.
yeah.
In my opinion, I
Listen,
think that's okay.
every room competition is pay to enter, right? Like the faux
True,
outrage
true.
of I have to spend 20 credits on a Horizon room. If you're telling me there's not one builder who didn't buy those Horizons on day one, right? Like I would give up my throne on that bet. Like everyone who builds in this game will have bought a Horizon on day one because they're builders and they're like, great, it's a new
I
building
agree.
feature, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Like, so I think there was a whole lot of faux outrage around that. It wasn't pay to enter any more so than buying four of this today's Funky Fridays, four fridges, 20 credits. It's the same thing, right? Like, it's a very low barrier to entry.
Yeah, and I agree. I think at the end of the day, it's how bad do you want it, and if you want it, you're gonna do it anyways, right? So
Yeah,
I personally, what I want to see next is for them to restrict specific Fernie. I think that would be fun. Like,
yeah,
restrict
I'd love
cabin,
that.
restrict. I don't know, restrict pedals. I don't know, like restrict a bunch of Fernie items and make it that much harder for the next competition. So that way you get to see new styles of rooms. Because between you and I, like, I feel like a lot of the rooms start to look the same or look very similar
They
to one
do.
another. And I feel like we need to spice things up, right? So,
I mean, I mean, don't be giving away your creator circle ideas too soon. Maybe you've got something right there, right? Like
True, true. That's true.
maybe you've got something right there. You look at Call of Duty, right? Really random comparison, but like their competitive arena is like certain weapons aren't allowed, certain
True.
tacticals aren't allowed. Um, the you could say that Cabin Fernie is overpowered in these competitions, right? Like the way you would say a certain gun is overpowered in Call of Duty. It's
True.
overpowered because it's in every single thing. I've done a really interesting experiment this time around. There's only one competition. I've entered at two room competitions and won one of them, or it was like a runner up, and it was the pub side business where it stuck all the
Yeah, I
fridges to
remember
look
that one.
like a casino. Um, and it placed, and that was a really nice surprise. It was a small room, and I don't build big rooms. I've taken the exact same room and I put it on a beach on the
Oh,
horizon.
I saw that. Yes. You know
And
what's
I
funny? When you posted
resubmitted
it, I was
it.
just like, I swear I saw this room before.
I resubmitted it, and
That's
some people were
hilarious.
like, "Oh my gosh, that's not." And I was like, "Do you know what? I'm going to do it because there's no tiki furniture in it. It's an idea that's one, and I kind of want to, I don't know, test the RNG element to see if it at least places. I don't
Uh,
want the badge. I'm not fussed on the badge, but
mhm.
it's a bit of an experiment on my part, just to see does it
I'll
come out in the does it stand out because there's no tiki fernie in
I'll tell you right now, if you place and I don't, I'm quitting. I'm announcing it
it.
right here. I'll be I'll genuinely be upset. I'll be like, there's no way he ran an RNG test and he beat me. That's crazy, you know?
Well,
I
we
guess
will
we'll
see. What
see.
happens if we both place? Does that mean that we both won the
Then we're
RNG, or
then
that
we're
both bills
celebrating.
were really good?
No, no, they're both good. That means they're both good. That means they're both good. You know, but if someone will say it's rigged because I'm in creative circle now. Like if I win now, it's like it's rigged now. So it's
Yeah,
that's the
well,
only
your name is
perks.
on her. Your name is on her mind.
Yeah, yeah. Or she might hate it. Who knows? Like spiders emailing me. Actually, funny enough, speaking of the critter circle, like you know how we were supposed to, you know how we were supposed to have our own account, like a secondary account. I can't choose
Yes,
whatever name I want. So all
you
we're
can't.
no, we're gonna be we're now instructed to have our name with capital CC at the end of it. So it's gonna be
I saw
Spidercides
that, and then because
CC.
I didn't get it, because you said that, and then you said not inspired by Dovey, and I was like,
Yeah,
I
you know
don't
what's funny?
understand that because it's really different.
I forgot to erase that part in the article because I copied it, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta change the name. So if you look on the
I
origins
thought that.
article,
Did you have like
yeah,
Spidey or something?
Spidey, exactly, exactly. But my
Oh,
dumbass
see,
forgot to edit that.
I was like, it doesn't make sense. And then yeah, but that makes a lot more sense now. I
Yeah.
mean, it also makes sense to me why, because we all knew who Dovak was, and we all knew consequently who Dovey was, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess a new player wouldn't, right?
100% exactly right, especially for someone like me with more of a niche type of style. Like Dovak did very like extravagant like mazes and tele mazes and huge prizes. I'm more of the like the game show style, like Survivor. I'll do Squid Game. You know, I've done Deal or No Deal, like you've been a part of that, right? So I've done things
Yeah.
like that, so it's different, which not everyone's gonna ever see because it's more smaller based. I'm not inviting hundreds of people to like in a tele room. So we'll see. I've actually emailed them just asking them, you know, could we post the article like publicly for all the hotels, because I don't think a lot of people actually are aware of things, and I think they need to like
Hmm.
market the game a little bit more and more. And to be honest with you, Matthew, I think they should market you publicly more with all of the features that you do, because I know they thank you in a tweet and stuff like that, but I think you need to be marketed a little bit more than that. Like in my opinion, anyways. I know you probably will
I
be.
don't know. I'm kind of going the other way. Like
Oh, really?
the more, yeah, the more that time has gone on, the more I've kind of been like, I kind of in a position now where I would be happy to like go under a pseudonym and actually they credit somebody else and they don't know that it's me. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm almost going the other way because it's hard. I think I'm a really focal opinionated person, and I think it's really hard for people to separate the work that I do on the or the work that I've done on the client and then my opinions about the game and Habbo and everything around that. And they think that one always informs the other.
True.
And
I
it
see that.
doesn't. I do a
Hmm.
really good job of keeping them like black and white in my head. Somebody said, "Oh, what was it? Somebody come at me the other day at Discord and said, you are sorry, Rob just brought me a drink. Thank you, Rob. He said, you are build in these features to, block people and stuff like that. And you must think this and you must think that. And I said, look, I don't think anything. I just seen a need for this feature.
Hmm.
And I made it doesn't, me making a feature does not be a reflection on what I think needs to be in the game or what there
Hmm.
should be in the game. I've either done it because somebody has suggested it or because I've been asked to. It doesn't mean that I support it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
it's, yeah,
yeah.
it's, I
You're
don't
just like
know.
on a task. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be happy to kind of go the other way and
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
not be known at all.
I can see that point, but I will admit, Matthew, like you and I have not always seen eye to eye in a lot of things. Most times out of time,
Mhm.
we're usually in line. You just obviously are better. You're a better writer than I am. I'll be honest. I'm more of the gifs and the emotes with my popcorn, which I absolutely love. But you and I see eye to eye in some other stuff. And let's face it, all the features you brought in, I personally think they're good. Like the Fernie command one is a solid one where you can actually search. That makes my life easy. The banning and blocking. Let's face it, everyone. Like we need that in the game. Like we don't have
Yeah.
any moderation at all, and especially when we go to Steam. Yes, there's excitement with Steam, but it's going to bring a very different type of community. So
Yeah.
we need features like this. So I can see your point trying to stay under the radar a little bit more. But just know that your features are, at least on my end, is appreciated. Like I use them, so it's been good on
Thank
my
you.
my side.
And that's the biggest prize, honestly, is just seeing people using them. Like when I look at somebody else's stream and they're using something that I've created, it's crazy and it's strange and it's really nice.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's been huge. And by the way, for anyone in the chat, I just want to give a quick shout out to a few more people here. We got Frankie in the chat. We got Icing. Victor is one of my boys, IRL. Victor, I hate you too. All right, but and then we got Corrupted Document that just jumped in here, and then we got Top Geezer Fridge Freezer. One hell of a name. Yeah, much love, Victor. Yeah, he's one of my homies, so don't worry. He might talk a lot of shit in the
I didn't know I
chat,
seen
but
it
it's
and I
all
was
good.
like, oh
Yeah, I
gosh, who
know.
is
So
that?
I needed to comment on it because I know everyone in here will be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" But no, he's in the clear. It's all good. Now another thing I wanted to kind of like go over as we are talking about like the game and what's changed over the months and over the year. What's your year in review? If you were to like rate this game right now, like how do you feel it went this past year, like overall?
Um, oh gosh, I think since day one, my approach has always been cautiously optimistic, right? Like, I think my mantra from the very beginning has been if the game ends tomorrow, I want to make sure that I've had the best bloody time that I can, just enjoying Habbo in its OG form. And so I've always tread with optimism, and I know that pisses some people off. They're like, "Oh, he's such a shill for the game and stuff." It's not that. I'm just a positive person in life, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
comes from like different tragedies and griefs and everything else that have happened in life that I'm just like, I'm not going to get upset over a game the way some people do.
Right.
Um, but I think, I stepped into Origins on day one. I didn't get Habbo Club on day one. I didn't invest in day one. I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. Um, I really enjoyed the community. I loved kind of keeping people updated and stuff like that. So I broke my Twitter off. It was originally like my personal Twitter. I broke that off, and then the Hobba thing happened. So I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want that connected to like my personal Twitter. So I did like a full cleanse. Um, and I think at that point everyone was like, God, such a shell, blah blah blah. But it was actually when I looked back, it was October 24 when I wrote an open letter to the team, like
I
expressing
remember
how
that.
much I loved Origins, but also all the areas for growth. And that tweet did numbers. Like that's one of the ones that popped off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that was me criticizing the game, but that's not me saying, oh, it's shit and everyone needs to be fired and blah blah blah. That's just me saying, here's the areas that I think are an issue and need focus. One of those big issues was the community team. At the time, we didn't know who was who. We didn't know what was what. The articles weren't signed. We didn't know, we knew that Dave was kind of overseeing this project, but that
Mm-hmm.
was it. We seen these names in the Discord. We had no idea who anyone was. And through all that, tried to stay like as positive as possible and just continue to like nurture the community side of things that I really enjoy. Um, and I think it was around then that I joined the Origins event squad. It was run by like Beth and Trivia, I think it was at the time. Um, and that was really fun. That was around the time where like Dave was teasing Halloween updates.
Mm,
I that to me was like a highlight month. Like October last year felt like a vibe, and I loved it. And Warren and I done Enigmas. That was like the first large scale event that I done in the hotel. Um and I just yeah, I loved it. And then that ran into November. We did Trax Auto, Bob and I
oh, I remember
and
that. That was a
Reese
fun one.
and Big Dog. Um we did the Quackery Quest to like save Christmas. And around that time, I revisited that open letter and I noted in that I thought development had really improved, but engagement, transparency, competitions, campaigns were still super lackluster. Um, and what I noticed at that time, I think, was Mackleby was developing features to create engagement that wasn't coming from where it should have been. That was kind of my
Mm,
observation. When he created the grotto, I was like, okay, he has made something to keep us logging in and clicking every 3 hours because there's no Christmas campaign, right? And that was where I seen this separation between Dave McElby Dom as the developer and then the people who are responsible for looking after the community who weren't looking after the community. Um, so that brought me really mixed feelings because I was like, I think we're going to see some really incredible development updates here, but we're seeing terrible moderation and we're seeing terrible community engagement. And so
mm-hmm,
it was in January that I come back and I was like, right, I'm I'm not being a hobbit anymore, right? That was the first decision I made in January.
yeah.
Um,
You were the first one to
I'm
do
not
that.
being a
Yeah.
hobbit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first to do
And
it. Yeah.
I was I was of the opinion then that it was a vanity badge that was helping me achieve nothing more than I could achieve without the badge, and it was bringing me more hate, making the events that I wanted to do more difficult to do because it was always kind of overshadowed by that stigma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the person running the program didn't feel invested, and I just thought nobody is invested in this game. And so January was probably the lowest point then I think for me. But it was then that Dave was talking about, earnable currency. He teased more clothing options, and I just tried to stay positive. And so it was February then that I did Habbo Happenings podcast, and I was like, I need to do something really out there, really different from what I've been doing. I wanted a voice that wasn't Matthew, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
I created that podcast with all these NPCs from around the hotel, um, so that they could create a running commentary on what was happening in the hotel, um, through
And
me.
and
And
then
I
you
think that came.
and I
Yeah,
was
you
gonna
go ahead.
say you also did the lady what's the
Yeah,
list?
Lady Pixlington
Pixlington, yeah. Just before that,
just
right? Yeah.
before Christmas. Yeah, she was during Christmas, and again, she was a way of providing narrative that wasn't me. And her
Mm-hmm.
narrative was very positive because at the time I remember somebody had put up this horrible Origins gossip website that was like really taking people down, really vulnerable people posting, real life pictures of them. So it was just a really horrible site. And I was like, Lady Pixington's going to be the opposite of this. She's going to be Bridgerton. She's going to celebrate big events coming up. She's going to spotlight people. And I think she did it really well. And
Yeah, that was
I
fun.
loved her. Um, then yeah, and I think that kind of gave birth to the Habbo Happenings podcast. I was like, I just really want a way to breathe life into the fun side of this hotel that is beyond, events and prizes. Not everything has to be a prize, not everything has to be an event. We can actually just highlight that things are fun and nice and people are nice. And yeah, that was that. And it was just shortly after that then that I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna start streaming. And I am gonna give myself a voice. And up until that point, nobody had seen my face. Nobody had seen pictures of my real life. I don't even think, I'd said like what my husband's name, other than my friends, obviously, that my close friends that I'd made within the community. Um, And I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it all there. I'm just going to put it all out on a table and I'm going to give myself a voice. And I think there was a monumental shift for me at that point, to the point where people who had previously like trolled me and stuff like that actually were reaching out, and they were like, "Do you know what? You actually have a really good measure of things. I think we're actually really aligned." Um, and I think that's what I needed. I needed to give my personality a voice, because my personality is very opinionated. But I think when you hear me, you know that
You know
I'm
where it's
not.
coming from. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can hear the
it always
tone.
comes from like a warm place, I think.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, that was it. I think so. The question was, what was the first year in Origins like? And I think it was really, really up and down. I think there was plenty more ups than downs. But to revisit that letter once again that I wrote 4 months into the development of the game, the same problem persists, and that problem is, and I know Will spoke on it last week, so I won't harp on, but that problem is the live ops side of things, the community engagement side of
hmm,
things. And at that time, we had no idea who to blame, for want of a better word. People were like, at the time, I think, in October, um, and November, like Wowin was really present and kind of taking on like the trapdoors and stuff. So he was getting the blame when it wasn't Dave, it was him. And actually, we didn't know at that time, I don't think, at least I didn't, that it was this other group of people who aren't even on the Discord, who haven't even really spoken to many of us,
sure.
that were making big calls, even things like I think I mentioned last week, like which public rooms open. I think people think that
Yeah,
fell
which blew
with
my
Dave,
mind.
and it
You
doesn't.
said it, and I was just like, "What?" And the whole
Yeah.
time, I thought Maccleby was just like busting my balls, that because everyone knew how badly I wanted the theater dome, and I pop in
Hmm.
there once every single day, no lie. I just go in there, I stand in front of the mic, take a couple screenshots, chill, and then I leave, because I know that's gonna leave one day. I'm gonna be very sad. But the whole time, I thought
Yeah.
it was him. So when you said that, I was just like, "Oh shit!" I I
Yeah, and
learned
it
something
was
new.
the same, I think I got an inkling of that. I think he dropped a hint of it in October whenever he shared an image from Slack where he asks the live ops team, he says, these badges are in the game, the Habbo badges, whatever it was. What are they being used for? And I think, he didn't get a reply or whatever. And I was like, do you know what? There's real office politics at play here. Like any other workplace. There's people that are really good at their job, there's people that are really bad at their job. Not for me to comment who's who in that situation in
Right,
Habbo, I
right.
really don't know. But what I do know is that he shared, people were like, Dave, where's these badges? Why are we not getting them? He's like, look, I've asked. And it was then that I realized that while this was his baby and his idea, there's still a company structure, and it's just not what his decision to what badges are awarded for what and what public rooms open, and to some degree even what Fernie and stuff lands in the catalog. So his focus really is the development of features and games. So yeah, that was eye-opening for me, and it,
No,
it it amazes me that that decision making process lies with people who are not actively playing the game. Mackleby, he actively plays it. He's close to us. He knows what we want. He knows what he doesn't.
hmm,
He knows what makes us happy.
it's true.
He's not that decision maker, and I think that's mind blowing.
Yeah, and I appreciate the context, and thank you, Active Girl, for calling me out in the chat. I always see Spider in there, and I always wonder what he's doing. Like, why you gotta call me out like that? Like, yes,
She
yes,
doesn't miss a thing. She does not miss a
I know
thing.
clearly. I was like, damn, and I do it at the late hour too. But yes, I like the theater dome. Yes, I'm happy it came in. But no, I agree. I think when it comes to the engagement in general, unfortunately enough, the team that you're talking about, they don't just focus on one of the games. They're focusing
Hmm.
on all three in some cases, right? Hotel Hideaway, the Modern Hotel, plus this one, right? So
Yeah.
their hands are getting pulled in so many different areas, and I feel like there needs to be a shakeup, either having one person dedicated here, like just focus. Like, I don't
Hmm.
think we need a team, I'll be honest with you, but I think if you have one person focus, dedicated, managing the creator circle program, managing the campaigns that goes on, I think it can go a long way. But
Yeah.
I
And
don't know how that would look like with budgeting and all that. Like, who knows, right?
yeah, I think how long ago was it now? Like 2 months ago or something. Wowan wrote something really compelling in the general Discord chat, and he said, we're working across multiple products and it's hard and everything else. Um, and on one hand, I'm like, yeah, that is hard. They're not being given more resource. And then on the other hand, I'm like, do you know what? I work 40 hours a week. I stream at least that, again over the course of a month.
Hmm.
And yet I still find time to put out events, competitions, tweets, news updates. You know, I
True.
still find time. And granted, it's a hobby for me, it's not a job, but I'm like, how many hours does it really take to write a good competition article? Right? Like how
Hmm.
it doesn't. I can hang up this call now and I can put an excellent competition together in 20 minutes. And that's
Hmm.
where I come down to the fact of I think there's people that are good at jobs and there's people bad at jobs. And I'm one of those people in my workplace. If somebody asks me for something, I get it done. It's the next thing on my list. And then I work with people who they'll defer it for 3 or 4 weeks, and I think it's those people that are sitting in that live ops team. Um, I don't know that it is even a case of resourcing. I think it's just skill. And maybe the skill
Could
is,
be. Yeah.
I don't know what Habbo or Penn or whatever. I know that these people are probably much younger. I know that they're probably earning potentially less. I know that it's maybe even a first job for some. Maybe they didn't, and I know actually from talking to Bab a lot, they they never had to run games before, right? Like this isn't the staff that grew up with us 25 years ago. This is fresh graduates, postgraduates, pre-graduates, whatever, who
True.
were just answering help desk tickets on Habbo.com. They were never having to enter a game and work out like what a queue system is or how to kick somebody, or they didn't need to know any of that. It was a help desk job. And so I think it's just the wrong people have been given that responsibility.
I could see that.
Um I
Yeah.
think you could give a skilled person 10 hours a week, somebody who knows community engagement and knows events. I think you give them 10 hours a week and they'd be able to turn this around in a month. I genuinely believe that.
You know what? I agree. Give it to me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I think when it comes to like campaigns and the events, I agree. I think if you have someone just more dialed in with the community and understanding like what's been asked for, prizes, types of events, etc. I agree. I think it goes a long way. I've also noticed that I think you can tell which Habbo staff members have been around a long time versus ones that haven't, right? Like you can
Mhm.
tell like their actual experience. So, all right, we're back.
You're
Awesome.
back.
Yeah, so now you know what? I'm gonna call it out. Matthew's doxing me, guys. All right, he's trying to dox me now. You
I
know,
haven't touched I'm just clicking my plants. That's all I'm doing.
congratulations on level 10, by the way. But
Thank you.
no problem. But no, we're back now. It's clearly me again. I think there's just something going wrong here, but all good. We're back. I have a lot of editing to do with this podcast episode after to remove the quiet breaks there. But yeah, like as I was saying, like last week with Wilf, Morgana has agreed to be on the podcast. Not the way you and I are doing right now, but she'll like answer a list of questions, and then I'm gonna use like AI to kind of build that experience. And I'm curious, and I'm gonna like put out some questions in there, but I just want to know like from their side, like I want to hear it from them. Like, okay, what do you do? What is your role like? What's your thoughts on this? Have you played Habbo? Things like that, and hopefully we can, I don't know, get more information. I don't know, so to speak, to educate ourselves, because I know what we see right now, but I think it's important to see from the other side. Um, but
I
I agree
think
with you
yes,
at the end
yes
of
and
the.
no. Yes and no. Like so I say, oh, I think we've been in beta for a year and everything else. At the same time,
Mm,
people have still pumped thousands of pounds into it, right? So I'm like, it doesn't matter to me now if you don't know that, how a game on Habbo works, or you don't play Habbo, or you don't have time to learn Habbo. Then it's time to switch up. Like, I don't think there's anything now that will justify to me. I think my levels of tolerance and sympathy maybe have passed. Like I think, I was maybe like, oh, maybe they don't know, or they don't know what we want. We have been loud, we have been clear, we have been vocal, we have created feedback thread upon feedback thread. And
mm,
to me, the person that is making these decisions is not reading that feedback. They're not reacting to that feedback. And they might sit on your podcast and say all the things that we want to hear. But I think it's horrible to say, but I think like for me, that bridge is kind of burned, right?
okay, I see
Like
what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I think it needs that shake up. It needs somebody 15 hours a week who just cares. And I think that's what I have felt is like a lack of care to make it better.
Mm,
Um, and I think somebody who was open to like making it better would have been already ask action in that feedback and asking like, how do I make this better? Somebody help me. And this person I don't think wants help. Um,
I agree. Yeah, I think, you know what I would want more than anything? I kind of want to know when we do get denied or ignored, I kind of want to know what's the reason. You know what I mean?
mhm.
I think that's like my honest take on it, because when it comes to, for example, Wilf's Streets of Boba, like his post, has been getting a lot of traction, right? But there's been
Mhm.
no post, no response, no nothing, right? He's kind of been
Yeah.
ghosted, and I think at this point it's like, if they're not gonna do it, fine, but kind of tell us why. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
what's
it just
going
takes
on?
that person to, be on that
Show
that,
you
and I mean
care.
Morgana's in that Discord, right? So like
Hmm.
drop it on it and say, well, I love this idea. I see there's a lot of support for it. It's not something that I have capacity for right now. I really hope I can, put something together in the future, but it's not going to happen at the minute.
Hmm.
That would be better received than as you say, this silence. I sent an email on the 16th of June with a game idea that I got a reply to last week. Like, yeah, we'd love to do this game. And I'm like, the game, it was seasoned, it was themed, it's not appropriate to run now anymore.
Wow,
Like
2 months. Holy
if
smokes.
if I if any of my team, and again, like different industries, whatever, if any of my team replied to an email, the first reply was 2 months later, they would be gone. They would be absolutely gone. Not to
Hmm.
mention on the back of many, many other mistakes that we've seen that team make with competition results and having to rejudge and pull things out and all this sort of stuff. Um, in any other industry that I know of, they would not be gone. And that's not me advocating for someone to lose their job or anything like that. That's absolutely like I don't want that to be the case for anyone. But I don't know how maybe they're exceptionally good in other areas because I don't know how you get past a year in a job like that and not get called out for the amount of overwhelmingly bad feedback there is about everything that is done.
You know what I would have done if I controlled Sule, because I run a similar business, but I'm not gonna like dox myself here. But in terms of like how I would run things, rather than split their bandwidth, I would just have them just be dedicated.
Yeah.
Why have three people? And I don't know if there's three. I'm not gonna I believe there's three, but who knows? But let's pretend there's three. But if you have three people split into three different games, why not just have one dedicated to each game? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
why split it? Because if you think about it, can you be 100% at your job if it's split into two different styles of jobs? You can't. Like, you're gonna struggle naturally.
I mean, you will, right? But here's my take. If you care, right? I care.
Hmm.
This isn't my job, but yet I find the time to
Make
make
it work. Hmm.
an effort, right? I get the feeling that they're all over there either saying, I don't want Origins. Oh God, no, don't give me that, bunch of 30-year-olds. I'm happy to work with the kids over here on Habbo. Don't give me Origins. I don't want it. I'll
Hmm.
put in as little time per week as you do. Everyone has to take their turn at doing the shitty, Habbo Origins. That's either one side, or
Yeah.
the potential flip side of that is I'll do a bit of Origins because it's really easy and I'll do the bare minimum and they don't really need a lot over there. And it's not as full on as what Habbo are wanting or what I whatever I think, whatever I see, it's not passion and it's not care. One person, I think you could tell Morgana she can have 60 hours to work on Habbo and she can get paid 3 times as much. I don't think it'll change what her capabilities are. And I
Hmm.
mean that in the kindest way. I don't think giving her 60 hours and a higher wage would all of a sudden make our events better, would make our campaigns better. I think they would just be equally shocking as bad. And that's why, as I say, she may excel at other things, and that's why she has her job and everything else. But events and community engagement for me is not it.
Yeah, and hopefully it improves. Like, I don't know if the reason they've kept the critter circle being 6 people now instead of three. I don't know if that was due to feedback, because I know there's been people just saying like we need people covering more time zones. Obviously, Dovek and I are in very different time zones, right?
Hmm.
Clearly, so we'll be able to support more people. But when it comes to that, I don't know if it's because of feedback. You know what I mean? Or they're just doing it because they need it. Like, who knows? But
Hmm.
I agree with you. I think you need effort. I think you need someone that truly is passionate for not even the game, just for people, like for the people that are
Yeah.
investing their time. You don't have to care about the game, hate the game, dislike it, but care about the people that are like kind of essentially paying your salary, right? Like,
Hmm.
like care about the people that are investing their time being a part of this experience. And selfishly, and I'm sure you'll agree, like when you run an event, you know what feels good? When people are enjoying it. And if you're
Yeah.
planning an event, like let's say whoever the live ops member is planning, don't you want everyone to be like, wow, that was an experience. That was iconic. That is something I truly will remember. Because right now we
Hmm.
remember past events that like Waltz Matilda did, but not for the good reasons, right?
No.
We don't, and I think that's the shift that we need. And I agree. I think we need someone that just understands us a little bit more, and kind of needs to just step in a little bit and provide that feedback, and then see. But I'm hopeful to see what happens in the near future. And speaking of the
Yeah.
future, I do want to talk about, you know, the potential of selling Habbo, right? The potential of
Hmm.
selling Sioux Lake. I know everyone's been like going into that a lot. I'll give my 2 cents. I think when it comes to the game being sold or the company being sold, whatever case, because they go hand in hand with each other. I think when it comes down to it, I can see it happen because it's happened so many times. And I love the tweet you did, by the way. You broke it down
Thank you.
like nice and easily. Like you kind of you dumbed it down for everyone. You're like, here's what's happened. We went through this. We went through this shift. We got this. This has happened before. This actually might be a good
Yeah.
thing. What's your thoughts on it overall?
Yeah. I mean, I think the tweet said a lot of it. Games or companies, games, everything they get sold all the time. My only experience, the company that I work for, we've bought 6 different companies in the last 3 years, right? Like it happens. Companies are built to be sold. That is the end goal, right? When you create a company, your goal is I want to sell this for as much money as I possibly can. That is the goal. I see them exiting because the game, I mean, it's not at a high, but it still has value. The Habbo IP will always have value. They clearly want to focus on advertising. They were never a gaming company, and that explains a lot, I think, across all the products. Hotel Hideaway is a gold mine for them. So I think in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like selling Sulik as a product or Sulaki, however it's preferred to be pronounced, I don't think they'll have an issue shifting that. I think what happens next is the interesting part. It could get bought by another advertising agency that also don't care. And also, things just continue, nothing changes. It could get bought, right? And I'm going to use an extreme example. I don't think this is likely, but just to give people a flavor, let's say Meta bought it, right? Facebook, WhatsApp,
Oh,
Instagram.
wow.
Let's say they buy it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the next thing is Meta folded into their Meta. They have that Meta Horizons VR universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's their big multiverse that they're building. Then they just soak that up into their visit, have a hotel in Meta or in Meta Horizons, right? In 3D. We've done away with the 2D platform. We've done away with all that. Now, if you want to see your typewriter, you'll see it in 3D and VR, blah, blah, blah. That is I guess what I'm saying is the company that buy it up will determine what direction it goes. And they could say, we love Habbo as it is. We're going to keep it as it is. They're going to say, we love what's there, but we're going to chuck a whole ton of money into it to make it perform better. We love the Origins product. We're going to stick 10 developers on that and we're going to build it as quickly as we can. Or it could end up with another company that don't care and they just say, yeah, Habbo IP, whatever happens, happens, whatever. I think the IP is just far too valuable. If you say the word Habbo in a room of 100 people, 90 people are going to say they've heard of it. Whether they play it today or not, they know of it. It has that kind of recognition. Um, and so, yeah, I really think there is nothing to panic about. There's no, all this scaremongering, sell up, time to get out, blah, blah. Why? Why? It sold before. We didn't sell out then. We didn't, try to get out.
True.
Most people didn't even realize it happened. And in fact, certainly when we were kids, the first Habbo acquisition was, something like 4 or 5 years into it, because it was just like Daisy running that company at the time, and then it was sold off. Nobody even knew. Nobody even
Mm-hmm.
knew. It's only because we're adults now and we can see like investor reports and stuff, which by the way have been glowing, that we think it's something that we need to make a big deal about. And it's not. Companies are sold every day. And that's kind of my take on it.
No, and I agree with you. Personally, I don't really see anything changing for any company that takes over. I think like it will be with the game that we're at, and Sulik will kind of make some of the decisions, and I think it'll come down to like
Hmm.
what profits are coming in. But I'm optimistic to see. I'm sure whoever buys it, there'll be some some of them might be intrigued by the fact that this game might go on Steam, and I know Steam is a very attractive for a lot of companies because they're like, ooh, investment, monetization, and making money and here and there. And I can see the positives to having it sold because at the end of the day, is the game at an all-time high? No, right? Is
Hmm.
Azerion is not it's clearly does they don't clearly care about us, right? So maybe this is a good thing, and then we'll just have to see what happens next. That's my take on it. It's just I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, and I mean, I looked back last night when I was kind of putting that tweet together, and I looked back, and there's an article where Habbo do like a Q&A about the Azarian acquisition, and they're like, what's changing? And so like you're like, we still make the decisions. Everything still lies with us. Nothing changes. And normally that is something that is negotiated as a part of a company sale, right? In terms
Hmm.
of how the brand is protected and what can happen and what can't. And they said nothing, we still make the decisions, and that is all true. However, they still have to go down and sit with a board of directors or whoever and say, but this is the money we need to make those decisions, right? And my understanding or my gut feeling is that's probably what happened with Origins. They sat down, they said, we want to make this happen, we're going to do it. What kind of funding can we get? How many new hires can we bring in, and all this sort of thing? And judging by what we've seen, they've probably been told none, right? Like
Hmm.
you work with what you have. We're not going to put more money into the Habbo product at the minute or into Sulaki as a business. Maybe because they were already considering that there would be a sale. Um, but that's what happened. So that from what I can see, the decision making power as part of all the deals so far normally still sits with Sulaki. It's just where the funding comes from.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think we're gonna be good. I know it's gonna bring a lot of news, and people are saying, I told you that it's gonna happen. Like at the end of the day, like the game is the game. Like whoever owns it. I remember the biggest example I have is like Destiny 2. Destiny was under
Yeah.
Activision, right? Everyone bitched about Activision. Activision ended up leaving and like letting Bungie do its own thing, and Bungie ended up being its own producer. Like they were able to actually run the game themselves. But then people still complained they weren't happy, and now it's under Sony, right? And it's at the end of the day, like you said, games and companies are meant to be sold, and it's all up to
Yeah. And that's why it's
we'll
so
see.
funny. These people that are like, oh, I told you, like, and they're pulling up comments that they wrote like, 10 months ago. Oh, one day the company will be sold. Companies are made to be sold. That is the
Mm,
point. That is how the world spins. And it's a surprise, I think, to absolutely no one that they would, especially if as Arian said, like our branding is getting hazy. We're an advertising company, but yet here we are trying to build a virtual world with no idea what we're doing. Um, why is it surprising that an advertising company don't want to run a gaming company? Um, so
100%.
yeah,
And
I'm
thankfully,
excited. I think
yeah, I'm pumped for it. I don't think
you
there's been any layoffs either. So like, I think that's the part. Like, if you heard layoffs, maybe that can be a little bit worrisome in some cases. But yeah,
I mean,
I'm pumped
even
for it.
layoffs have to happen. Again, as terrible as that is, I said the company that I work with, and we bought, a load of people in. Some of those people were just redundant because they were either not a part of the company culture that we were striving to build, or they were just roles that already existed and we didn't need to double down on at the time. So even when redundancies happen, it's still not red alarm systems to me. If anything, I'm like, okay, these people care. They want to do it. They want to do it right, and they want the right people, the right bums in the right seats to make this happen. And as I say, if it was me, there's some bums I would potentially kick out of seats,
Hmm.
based on all the
Do a little
feedback that
restructure.
I read online. Yeah.
Yeah, I think restructure is healthy at the end of the day, in any company. I think it's normal, and who knows? Maybe what Wolf is saying in the chat, he reckons that Chica will will buy Sulek. So anything's possible. But yeah, no, we'll see what the future holds for that. And I know with Steam around the corner and all of these other updates, maybe Snowstorm one day. So who knows what this game will look like in the next 6 months? I think we're in for a surprise at the end of it, but.
Hmm.
Something I also wanted to chat with you about in terms of as we start to near the end of this podcast, is I kind of wanted to open the floor up and talk to you about any other topics that people want us to bring up. So, for anyone in the chat, we got a lot of you in here. We got Wilf, we got W, we got Skeffridge, Straggly, we got Bab, we got a ton of you. Write a question or a topic that you want us to cover in the chat here. Yeah, and then I'll read a few. I'm not gonna read ones that are inappropriate, but if they fit the theme, then let's do it. All right, we're getting. Oh, there! Look at that. There's a bunch just running in. Okay, okay. You know, let's touch on this topic here. So W asks. Well, he puts in capitals. He's not really asking a question, but it's clear what he wants. Is moderation. Um, what is your thoughts been on moderation in general? Like, obviously we don't have it here, but what's your feedback on that?
Um, I think it's horrendous. I think when Habbo came and they were like, "Oh, it's 18 plus. It doesn't need moderation to the same extent," and I completely agree. Um, and early on, right, through the Christmas, and people were like, "Oh, I should be able to say this word and I should be able to say that word," and it's 18 plus. Now, what I think this some of this adult community don't understand that 18 plus does not equal to free for all, say what you want, offend people, use ableist slurs, use homophobic language, use racist language. That stuff still needs moderated because clearly people can't moderate themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the experience that I had within the Hobbit team, now granted that wasn't a moderator role at all, but it did give a slight advantage in that we were told we could raise issues of concern. And back then, in October, there was names that I raised who are still roaming the halls of the hotel today. Now, and on the same account, not even on alts, on the same account. Now, to me, that is problematic. And the that was when I kind of stepped away from the Hobber rule because I was told essentially it's 18 plus, deal with it. And I was like, well, actually, from my understanding, there's rules being broken here, there's laws being broken here. You know, people are getting doxxed, people are getting harassed, people are and that comes with any online community, right? That's not unique to Habbo, and that's nothing to do with what the way they've set things up. And it was kind of then that I got interested in the development side of things, and when I understood what my capabilities were there, I was like, I really want to find a way to make it harder for these people to exist. And that's whenever kind of the idea of, turning them into ghosts was born and not having them be able to hear what you're saying and all that sort of thing. And I feel like that has done monumental strides towards self-moderation. I think very, very, very similarly to how I feel about live ops, the moderation team need to shake up. They need education in what harassment looks like. They need
Mm-hmm.
education in, what online harassment looks like. Um, and some people within this community take it to the nth degree, to the point where, like, there's Reddit threads made about me, fake Twitter accounts have been set up about me, like stuff that is really tiptoeing and straddling the line of criminal activity. Habbo's be wild, right? Like if there's
Mm-hmm.
anything we take away from this, it's Habbo's be wild. Um, and so for that, I think I'm grateful for the self-moderation tools we have, but I think Habbo need to take those situations more seriously. I do think people have left the game silently on the back of being harassed. Um, and I think at this stage, I'm just really glad nothing worse has happened because the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that has been said to me, if that was said to the wrong person at the wrong moment, we would potentially be, mourning someone or whatever, because these people are vile, they're gross. Um, and I still see them at events. I seen them running around in Wilf's events yesterday, and I'm like, hi, can this happen? Wilf managed it very, very nicely. Um, but I just like, yeah, it amazes me that they're still on these day one accounts.
Mm-hmm.
They need to sort it out.
Yeah, and to touch on that in just a moment before I do want to give a huge shout out to Hugo Coffee. Thanks for the raid. I'm not familiar with all the names here, but welcome everyone from your community. Thank you so much for rating this podcast. This is the Quack podcast, and Matthew and I are just talking about a game that we both play, which is Habbo Hotel Origins, and we're just going through it. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Welcome in, and thanks for coming out and sit around and listen to us give our feedback regarding the game and our highlights. So yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome in. Yeah, and Matthew also streams, by the way. His Twitch handle is Origins Matthew, and then you can
That's
find
me.
him playing a ton of variety games. So I'll type his Twitch here in the chat. So for anyone that wants to give him a follow that came from that community, give him a shout as well. He plays a lot of different types of games, and he's a chill guy as well. So I'll
Oh,
put that in
thank you. I
there.
kind of want to know what Hugo was playing. If Hugo,
Yeah,
if you're still listening, I would love to know what you were playing.
yeah. You go
I,
first.
I just love to know that cross community part. Like, how where did you wind up from to end up on Habbo?
Yeah, yeah, and it looks like they're called the Baguette Land. Like we are of the Baguette Land. I guess
Ooh,
that's French. You're from France.
I
I'm,
was gonna say that, but I
I,
didn't know if it was
I don't.
appropriate or not.
Well, clearly I just said it, so I thought out loud there. But yeah, no, welcome everyone. But yeah, tell me what games you guys were coming from, or Hugo, what were you streaming? Huge shout out. Oh, okay, look, I was right. Whew, I made it. I made it, Matthew. They said yes. Thanks for the follows here. But yeah, Clement, if you don't mind, like, what does Hugo play or stream? Where did you guys come from? That's fun. I don't think I've ever been rated during a podcast, which is kind of like different, right? So anyone that's watching this afterwards is going to be like, "What's happened?" But as everyone is going through that, let me touch on the moderation topic. I agree with you. I think there needs to be a shakeup, right? We talk about the shakeup on the community side and the events and the live ops and all that, but there needs to be a shakeup on the Zendex side, right? There needs to be something on that level that needs to recognize that because this game is 18 plus, people can take it to a whole new level. There are other
Mhm.
ways that people will find and dox and attack and hate. There's so many ways of figuring things out, and I think when it comes to that process, I think the game, the company in general, needs to take it seriously. I think, and I hate to say this, I think sometimes we need something very bad to happen before that change happens. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that never comes to fruition. I hope that never happens where someone, you know, passes away or gets attacked IRL or whatever. Like, I hope that never happens. But
Mhm.
unfortunately, so many companies are like that, and that they wait until something so bad happens before they make a move. And I hope Sulake and Zendesk, whoever runs it, because I know it's a third-party team that runs that, I hope they just recognize that let's not wait until that happens. Let's be proactive. Let's stay ahead of the curve before someone takes it too far and we can't stop them, right?
Agreed, agreed. And it's I think the the Habbo community comes with the extremity of the nicest people, some of the kindest, most wholesome people that I've met, and then the complete other end of the spectrum, the most unhinged, genuinely evil people that I have met. And then I look at Paleo, which is the other game that I've been playing a little bit, and it's such a different. The community's so much larger, and the vibe is just generally so much better. And I think in a community of this size, while the game is growing, it's fundamental for them to stamp that out because whenever that starts ticking on Discord or in a room, you feel it. The impact is
Mm-hmm.
so heavy, because there's not enough voices to drown it out. Um, and I think it's just really, really heavy. And even, the streaming Habbo, I'm like, I haven't streamed because if I go into a public room, you're going to see a hell of a lot of ghosts on my screen of people that I've blocked. And that's not the image of the game that I want to give either, because there is a lot of nice people here. But
Mm-hmm.
we need more nice people to negate the vibe that that focal minority can make.
No, I'm in line with that, and even coming from me, that's going to be managing some of the creator events. I'll tell everyone right now, if you cross a line in any of those events, it doesn't take much effort for me to just hit that block button, and you will not be able to enter any competitions. Like I
Yeah.
take that stuff very, very seriously. Unfortunately, I know everyone has comments on alts and stuff in the game. That's hard to kind of manage, and unfortunately, just we know which ones are alts sometimes, but sometimes it's hard to tell. But when it comes to people being inappropriate, I take that very, very seriously. So if I see that in any of my events that I manage, if I can control it, I'll take care of that. So that's my commitment
Yeah.
on that front. But yeah, it's a real shame of what we've seen. And sometimes I'll be honest with you. I remember you and I were speaking offline. I'm oblivious. Like I don't really see a lot of the stuff because in my algorithm, it's literally Spider-Man, like Marvel stuff, Destiny 2, and this game. And but this game, like in terms of like just people, like creators just spamming like their links and stuff like that, which is cool. But I never see the
Yeah.
other stuff, and I think it's just my algorithm. So when you and I were speaking about it, and we were talking offline, I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm not aware of any of this. Like I actually don't see it in my feed at all. And unless someone shows me or tells me, that's the only time I know. So when you and I talked, it opened my eyes, and I started like saying, okay, you know what? Things need to change. I need to start paying attention a little bit more. And you and I spoke, which what what groups and all that stuff. And I'm just like, okay, let me start doing better because clearly I don't know everyone, obviously. And there's people that are affecting others, and I think we can all like just step it up a little bit
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general.
and you know, I don't eat like it genuinely doesn't come up on my stuff, and I have distanced myself from all these people a very, very, very long time ago. And some of them I've never even interacted with. They've just decided to, see me as, I don't know, an easy target or a visible figure or whatever it is. Um, but I only see this stuff because people bring it to my attention and they'll be like, have you seen what this person's saying about you on Twitter? And do you know what? 99% of the time, I either agree, I'm like, yes, I am obnoxious, I am annoying, I do have a big mouth. And it was only recently whenever certain lines started being crossed, to the point where it could be detrimental to like my job or my, relationships that I was like, I need to do something about this because these people are getting out of hand. And these are people, Spider, that I haven't spoken to since like October, November, and they're
Mm,
still fixated 9 months later. Like that is scary. And that is where it crosses the line from some harmless, oh, you're ugly, blah 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 blah, to this person has a hyper fixation. And that is scary. And yeah,
yeah,
so it was those things that kind of crossed the line for me.
and it's funny you say that because I actually sent you one like weeks ago, like something that was on Reddit or whatever. I'm like, hey, by the way, like, because I was like browsing like one day and I saw that, and it's unfortunately to see those things because I'm just like, man, that's like damn, like people actually do this. And I think maybe
Yeah.
I'm oblivious because I don't interact with so many people in the game unless like I'm hosting an event. And
Hmm.
maybe that's how like I've been like staying behind the scenes as much as possible. But it's like I will admit, I think at the end of the day, if you have someone in your friend group that is like crossing the line here and there, let's just like chat with them. You know what I mean? Let be like, hey, like you're crossing a line here. Like let's just tone it down. I think banter is healthy. To be honest with you, I banter a lot. Everyone has seen it, but I think there is that line that we got to just like watch out for. You know what I mean? I do
Yeah.
believe that people can. I do believe in second chances in a way, and you and I have had our differences like most like recently, like in the summer, and you and I were able to patch it out and like be like, you know what? Let's move forward. Let's figure it out. I need to do better. I need to look at like how am I doing things, how I what I say, what I do, all those actions involved, and you and I grew from that. And I feel like we got to like a very good friendship level. You know what I mean? Like I consider you a friend, someone that I can actually like talk to, and I think that's healthy. And I think when it comes to things like that, I think people need to recognize, take a look at yourself in the mirror and go, okay, what did I do wrong, and how can I get to that next level in life? You know, because at the end of the day, we're dealing with people, and I think
Yeah.
sometimes we forget about that. I think sometimes we are looking at all these avatars and we're forgetting that there's a person behind that screen. And you don't know certain
Yeah.
things. And I'm not gonna call out the person in here, but there was a person that like had blocked me in the game, and I was just I saw the shadow, and I'll be honest with you, I was at the other end of the receiving end where I couldn't see any of their bubbles and anything, and I was just like, "Oh shit, this is what the future looks like on the other side." And I go, "Damn, like what did I do to that person?" And me and that person spoke recently, and we ended up like moving forward as well. And there was a bit of miscommunication and misunderstanding, and it's something where I go, I didn't gaslight them or anything, going, "Oh my god, like what you thought was wrong." I went like, "Oh shit, what I said a while back offended you, and it made you feel like I was not as nice of a person. You know what? I'm sorry." And I think that's
Yeah,
sometimes you don't have to be defensive about it. Sometimes you just own it and move on. You know what I mean? I think
it
that's healthy.
is. I think it is healthy. And I think, the it's funny. I'm reading a book at the minute. I don't normally read books, but I'm reading a book. It's called The Anxious Generation, and it's all about, the damage potentially that social media and stuff is doing to children born in kind of 1996 and onwards, and this kind of monumental shift in, when we were growing up in the street and we were playing with our friends, and you fell out with somebody or you punched somebody or they punched you or whatever, you lived in the same street. You kind of had to go over and knock on their door the next day and apologize and say, "Look, I'm sorry. Like we're still hanging out. We're still friends." And today, you block somebody, you forget. You don't actually repair those bridges. And so,
Hmm.
a lot of people in the generation, certainly just below mine, they aren't equipped with those skills of like navigating a rocky friendship or something that has stuck a spanner in the works. They just nope out, or they go into the retaliation mode of, okay, well then I'm going to go and say as many bad things about this person as I can, because they just don't have that experience of how the world works in face to face kind of in real life situations, because they're brought up online, and it's really really telling. Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I hate having enemies. I don't want to have enemies. I don't want to have bad blood with anyone. At the same time, I won't be someone with friends that's like a racist or a homophobe, and I'll just tell them that. I say, look, I'm not out to like argue with you or try to get a dig at you at every opportunity. You're just not my kind of person, and that's
Hmm.
okay. We don't have to hate each other. We just won't hang out.
Hmm.
And that is, I think that's really hard for people to get their head around, that, oh, but it's free speech. I should be able to say what I want. Well, you can, but just not around me. Like, that's fine. And that's okay. We don't have to be friends.
Yeah, no, and I'm aligned with that. I think at the end of the day, I think we just need to realize what we say and how we do things. Because I'm a pretty sarcastic person online with my tone, like that way I banter, and I think everyone sees that, thankfully. But I have to always add a GIF, and sometimes I don't add it quick enough, and sometimes someone would be like, "Oh man, is he being too blunt?" And I think at the end of the day, I think we just have to just recognize that what we say might affect others. And for anyone listening and watching, if there's anything that I've said that like caught you off guard and you're like offended by, let me know. Let me know. At the end of the day, I'm not. I consider myself a chill person. You know, I don't think I'm the nicest person in the world, but I think I'm a chill person where I'm always down to just have a good time. And I do
Yeah,
want,
but
I do
it's also
care. You know.
fine to have an opinion, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
also fine to turn around to somebody and say, I don't agree with your take on that.
Mm,
And that should be okay without it being a whole big, oh, you're a hater, or oh, you're a shill, or oh, you're a this, or oh, you're that. We don't have to become enemies just because we have a different opinion. Lord
mm,
knows W and I disagree on things every single day, and yet he's
mm.
still like one of my bestest friends within this community, right? But we don't agree on things every day, and he'll say something, I'll be like, I disagree, I don't think that's right, or vice versa, and then we just move on. We go, okay, cool, and we talk about the next thing, because that's fine, and that's, if we agreed on everything, how fucking boring it would be, right? So
Oh, 100%, man.
yeah, it's
Everyone needs an opinion. And at the end of the day, you don't have to agree on everything. Like you and I sometimes don't, and it's okay. Like it's
no.
not a big deal. We just do our thing. But yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, it's all about growing up and just maturing and just understanding. Like we're in a very social environment. It's a world within a
Mhm.
world. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, in terms of moderation, I hope I've always said this. I think we need in-game moderation opposed to AI in any game. I think that's a downright fact, and hopefully something happens later. But clearly there's a lot of issues. So
Yeah, watch this
uh,
space.
yeah. To cover, let's see, other things, other topics and questions. Wilf asks, when. That's hilarious. When did you know you were Irish?
I'm not Irish. I am I'm British from Northern Ireland. I'm not
Oh, there you go.
Irish, according to my passport at least. But no, I do. I own my Irishness. I'm not precious about that. I get I get daily abuse from Bab for eating potatoes. I just really enjoy them. They're good food. Um, and yeah, it's a lovely little country.
Oh, yeah, I've never been to Europe myself, so looking forward to one day traveling there and seeing all the great countries. Because I see some of the pictures that some of you post, and I'm just like, oh, that's like a nice view and looks good with the food and all that. So, and I hear about Greg's, like in the what is that, Greg's in the UK, and everyone talks about that. So. Maybe one day. But next question here, we got Skeffridge saying, Matthew, how do you feel about my and his level 50 gardening achievement?
I think it's a necessary evil for the sake of museum preservation. I hope he's going to create a really, really nice room with each of the plants in their pre-harvestable, pre last harvest state. That's kind of what I'm relying on for him. He says he's level 52 now. Congratulations. That
Wow.
it's a very bab thing to do, to say, to highlight his achievement like that. I think maybe he's I think she's rubbing off on him.
And PSA, I think everyone should be leveling up their gardening this weekend because
Yes.
Dom is not here. He's away. And let's be honest, he's going to nerf gardening. I don't think he anticipated everyone to be leveling up this fast.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
I suggest get in your rooms, do what you got to do. If you want to level up and get some plants, do it sooner than later.
Yeah,
Um,
because that's where I get screwed with that other one fishing.
oh, that
Um
hurt me so bad. That hurts
and
so
now I'm just
bad.
stuck in Port Hannah forever, like hell.
I will say Frenzy at least was a good positive that did help me cross over the edge. But yes, it's now I only go fishing when there's a frenzy. I've taken that step
Yeah.
back myself. Next person here, we got Bab. I talk to him every day.
God.
I've had enough. That's a
All
funny one.
true. All true.
Oh, this is good, my buddy. So this is my IRL buddy. My friends actually watch the stream, so they'll always actually they support me. And for any of my friends watching, I'll swear right here, don't fucking dox me. I will swear I will call you. I'll do stuff that I won't say on stream right here, right? But in terms of that, my boy Victor saying, and it's a good question. As someone who only knows about Habbo from their friends, what are your thoughts on the new player experience? What would you want to see changed? It's a very good question.
Victor, yeah, what a great question. I think this is a really interesting concept because Habbo is such a cute game, right? Like you think of the following that like Stardew Valley and stuff has because of its cute pixel art, and Habbo has that. And a few weeks ago on stream, I sat my husband down and I said, "Play it. I want to watch you play it." And he didn't have a clue. He was like, "I don't know what to click on. I don't know what to do. Who are these people? Are they real people? They're talking to me. How do I talk back? My hand just opened. Why did that happen?" And all these questions were really interesting to me from a perspective of if I could develop something to make his experience better, what would it be? And a week later, the kind of new onboarding tutorials were born for people with less than 10 visits. They arrive in the hotel view, they get walked through each of the icons there. They enter into a room for the first time, they get walked through the icons there. And that was just a small step of like, welcome into this hotel. This is what all these buttons do if you've never played it before. Um, and I think that's just step one. I think there's going to be more onboarding. I hope to see people land up in a room. I did the Habbo X onboarding for the NFT hotel earlier this year, and it was really strong. It was childish-ish, but it was, you arrived, there was two NPCs, they told you to move a furniture from one side of the room to the other, they told you how to talk, how to do it. Was interactive, it was engaging, and I think that's what Habbo Origins needs, and I think it'll get it. I think the technology is there that we've seen with like the NPC bots and stuff like that. So I think it'll happen, but I think at the moment it's very hard to get into it. I think you need that kind of onboarding, which is there ever so slightly now. The bit that I don't know from a new user experience is how how do you get the best items in the game, or should you be able to get the best items in the game?
Hmm.
Um, I took Rob through a room where I had put down all these different types of furniture, and I told him like the value of a credit, and then I said, guess the value of this if you wanted to like make an offer in credits. Um, and he was just so out of whack. He gave W a red chair as a prize. I had him picking the giveaway prizes, right? I
Oh,
was
I
like, you don't
remember
know, I,
this.
I have like rares in
Yeah.
here. I have all sorts. What prize do you want to give to W? And he said, I like that red chair. I think we should give him that red chair. Um, and W was fuming. But I thought that was really interesting. He had no concept of what the good Fernie was, for want of a better word. And I think that is really interesting. This stream of players who doesn't know that, a little typewriter of, 25 pixels or however big it is one of the rarest items in the game. And actually the big massive yucca tree, which looks like it could be an expensive item, is one of the cheapest. And I find that fascinating. I want to know how new players will be educated in that, or if they even need to be educated in that. Maybe they don't. Um, I think that could shake up the economy considerably because my attitude since day one, and I've said it before, I will only ever trade items that are valuable to me personally. And to me, rare values, they don't matter. If somebody says to me, I want your red chair, or if I say to somebody, I want your red chair, and they say, fine, can you give me two blue chairs? I'll give them two blue chairs if I really want the red chair. That's
Hmm.
been always my approach to Habbo economy. And I think I've went wildly off the topic from what Victor asked, but new player experience, I think it's fascinating watching new players play. And I think I think they can find something to do here if they are social people. People say, "Oh, but if you don't have the nostalgia, you can't enjoy it." And I just simply don't agree with that. I think if you vibe with cute aesthetics, which people do, Stardew Valley, cozy is in, you can head into Habbo. You can make some really nice pictures for your Instagrams. You can meet some really cool people.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, Victor. And it's funny how you said it so I mean, I can't even speak today. You said it so well. I'm just gonna say it like that. Matthew, like, I agree with everything there. It's the game itself. My issue has always been that it's pay to play, essentially, like pay to have a good time, right?
Hmm.
And thankfully, this game has finally had a little bit more opportunities for free opportunities, and
Hmm.
like the fishing, the gardening, at least you can get your feet wet to building some rooms and building a style and without really spending money. And I think that's a good, healthy approach. Now, in terms of the new player experience in general, I think it still needs more improvement, but I think what you just created recently, I actually got to experience it because I just created my new Creator Circle account, and I got to
Oh
click the
yeah.
next. I'm like, okay, cool. This is clean. It's straightforward. It kind of just makes it easy, and I think that's a very good approach because we've never really had that in quite some time. And when it comes to what I want to see changed in the future from now, I think I want the website, or I want another source. I want something that you don't have to be in the game for to kind of learn about the game as well. And I
Hmm.
don't know if that looks like a YouTube video, a fan site. I know they did a lot of videos for collectibles, and that was pretty cool.
Hmm.
And I think we
But
need
why would you want
something
that on the website and not in game? Do you
because
not feel
because they'll see it.
hands-on clicking through is better than reading offline?
My thing is I want them to learn about the game in case they don't click on it. I think that's like my thought. Like I don't think it needs to go too in depth, but I think it'd be kind of cool if there was like a cool little summary, like a good
Hmm.
maybe what OK is filming right now for their ads. Maybe he's going to be
Yeah.
kind of doing that. And I think that's what I'm thinking of. Like kind of like here's what the game is and here's some cool stuff you can do outside of the game because for them to experience what you've created, you have to log in, you have to be here. And I think if we see it elsewhere as well, maybe that can teach people about it. Or, I know
Yeah. And
streaming
even
obviously
even
helps
that
too.
registration process is challenging.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
think
Right.
now, like a few of us have created an default that we know how to click through it quickly, but for the first time, I think that I didn't have Rob do that on stream because that would, all his details or whatever. But I don't
Right.
know how far he would have got. But I have seen, God, I don't know if I'm allowed. I have seen like the Steam integration, and obviously it will be a one-click login. So that will immediately be bypassed for Steam players, which I think is incredible, and they will land straight on Hotel View, straight into that, without all that faffing around and one-time codes and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that looks really exciting. There was one other thing I was going to say about new player experience and onboarding. But yeah, yeah, you were saying about, the offline stuff. I think something that is really exciting about developing Habbo today, at least the stuff that I've seen, is we learn stuff even from modern technologies, I guess. So actually,
Mm.
what people won't know is underneath that tutorial is tracking. So we know how long anyone stays on any one of those little individual windows.
Oh
We know
wow.
if they exit out of it, at an earlier point. Maybe they feel it was boring or they already knew or whatever. They've exited out of the tutorial. So things like that can be tracked with a view to improving it, right? Like where did people get stuck? And that's obviously really common in modern software, right? Like every click is monitored. Where are people getting stuck? Where are people getting frustrated? Um, and just little things like that that have been developed into this older software, but through a modern lens, means that it's easier then to see where people need more guidance and help. And obviously that data needs to build up over time, especially as a lot of the new accounts aren't potentially just, alt accounts or for trophies or whatever it is. But long term, that'll give really good insight into where people need the most guidance.
Yeah, and I think what would be cool is that like and Victor, you if you ever want to like log into the game one day and you want to try it out, let me know. Like and I'm sure Matthew and I'm sure some others here in the chat would be down to like just have a good time and kind of like show you around. The game itself is a social game. Like it's just to sit around, have a good time. For me, I call it I this game allows me to turn my brain off. I don't really have to
Yeah,
think.
it's
I
it's
can
sit
like
around and
relax.
tell us all the stories about Spider that he hasn't told us
Oh
himself.
yeah, right.
That's the
um,
social part.
exactly that especially, but no, I think the game also, the reason I've still played this is because it allows me to be creative. On Destiny 2, I do transmogs and I create a lot of outfits in that game still, and I'm a creator for them. And this game allows me to be creative. Like I've created a room right here, this podcast room, very simple, to the point, only a few Fernie in here, but it gets the point across. And I think that's why I enjoy it. You can dress up, you can change things, you can customize it, and I love the colors and the pixel and the design. It's so unique and different from other games, and I think that's why I like Destiny 2 as well, because there is no game like it right now, right? Or feels
Yeah.
like it right now. And I think that's the itch that I need personally. But yeah, Victor, if you ever want to like link up, you obviously you're my boy. So if you ever want to like come in the game and not talk about me, please, and we can just have a good time, that'd be good.
And
But
people
yeah.
people have tried and feel, that aesthetic that you talked about. I think people have tried and failed that. I think last October, November, a lot of the content creators of Habbo ditched out. They said, "Come with us to Pixodom." Pixodom kind of
Oh yeah,
tried to
yeah,
do
yeah,
what
yeah,
Habbo
yeah.
was
I
doing,
remember. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it just wasn't as cute. It just didn't have that aesthetic that we love about Habbo. It wasn't cute. And similarly, to take that a step further, then you have, can we mention it? You have like retro hotels, right? Or people that have ripped and stolen assets from Habbo and tried to rebuild that elsewhere. Those haven't had any kind of real success either because they're missing. It's funny because you said about like the pay to play aspect.
Mm-hmm.
When you give people everything on a plate and you say, here's Habbo, but it's free, it actually isn't fun. It actually,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone has logged in or ever tried any of those, but it's actually not fun. You don't have, for a start, you don't have all that kind of stuff that people still fanboy over now, like a staff entering the room or being acknowledged by this business that you know and love, winning a competition.
Mm-hmm.
But you also, when you just get handed everything on a plate, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to create a space of things that you've earned or purchased or whatever, because we're a society that wear brand labels, or we paint our house a certain color. We show off everything in everything we do. And when you take that and you try to make it something else, it just doesn't work. So I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
agree.
another
Yeah.
reason why I think Habbo will continue to thrive, because it's unique, and despite people's best efforts, they haven't been able to replicate that.
Yeah, you touched on a good point when it comes to like free in general. Like I want free elements. Like I've always said this out loud, and I think I think Dom is considering a battle pass for gardening eventually. Maybe not now because everyone's leveled up so high, but I do believe having some free elements just to incentivize people coming into the game that may not spend money right away. I think that could go a long way. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, Victor, hopefully that answers your question in there. Next one we got Connor. Connor, can you remind me who you are? Are you eventual? I forget. Like I know your Twitch name. Like I know who you are, but I don't know who you are. But I think I've asked this before and I always forget. But you got a question for Matthew. Any chance you're working on anything else like Enigmas? I know you have a lot on your plate at the moment.
Great question. So Warren was the mind behind Enigmas. He was the one with, the riddles and everything else. I was like the promo piece, the mouthpiece, the person that tried to get everyone involved. Um, so I definitely can't take credit for the mind behind that. And without Warren, there is no Enigmas. I still hang out with Warren. We play Dungeons and Dragons together, so I see him every Wednesday. And I have asked him. I've said, look, let's do another. I think he could be convinced. So there's no enigmas in the pipeline. There's other things in the pipeline. I'm always working with Bob Barker. His in my mind, the amount of ideas we have created and put to bed and resuscitated and everything else. There's always something coming out of the factory of my mind and Bob's and Howl's and Icing's. So there is more to come, but not in enigmas soon.
Awesome. And I like Victor's comment here. Freedom of speech does not equal freedom of consequence. I love that.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
awesome. Victor's actually one of the, by the way, for everyone listening and watching, him and I went to Comic Con this year together, and he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Like that guy is genuine as hell. Such a good dude. But I'll never say that publicly to his
He
face.
must have some great stories on you for you to be blowing him up like
Probably.
that.
Well, he knows me. Well, a lot of my boys know me for a long, long time. Destiny 2, man. For anyone, I have 5,000 hours in it. I learned that the hard way the other day when I said I have 3,000 hours, and suddenly that almost doubled. I got a question here. Let's see. I'm scrolling through. Oh my God, Wilf is a question for a IRL friend: Is Spider a furry? Oh, oh man, too
God.
funny. Oh, we got Bessie in the chat. Welcome, Bessie. Welcome, welcome. Um, let's take a look here. And sorry, everyone, I'm scrolling through it. I'm just passing through the raid comments as well. Oh, Victor, I have a great story from last month. This guy's hilarious, and he probably does because we had a good time at Comic Con. That's all I'll say. So it was a fun time. Um, I can't comment on that, Bab. I know Matthew touched on retros a little bit, but I don't want to dive too deep in it, so I won't touch on that further just in case. And yo, wow, Sir Jonas, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Appreciate you coming by. And then him, let me just read his comments here.
He's also talking about
He's
it.
also talking about it as well. Okay, you know what? All right, let's read it out here. It's not like it's not like I work for Sulek anyway. So Bab mentioned it's true. There's tons of Shockwave retros, and they all failed because having 10 thrones isn't cool when every other player also has 10 thrones. And I agree with that. I think it comes down to value and interpretation of the item itself. Like when only a couple people have an item, it can create that excitement, or that chase that people are looking for. Like I know you wanted a typewriter for such a long time, and then you finally got one, and you probably were like, yes, I finally got this. This is what I've been wanting. Right,
Exactly.
right.
Exactly, yeah.
So I think the game needs a chase, and I think the having an economy like that is healthy. I'm not in agreement with the Noco, the NPC, the shop. I'm not a fan of that personally. I kind of wish they would invest super rares in a different way,
Mm.
like
It
back into the
doesn't
game.
bother
Like,
me because he hasn't. I mean, I told you, like, my trade and mantra has always been, I'll give you two blue chairs for that red chair that I really want. Like,
mm-hmm.
and Noko hasn't had anything that I really want. So it hasn't impacted me. If Noko showed up with a typewriter and that was the only way to get a typewriter, I
Oh
would
yeah.
definitely be pissed. So I get it with the Nelly, when people felt that sort of way. Um, but I guess I've been fortunate that Noko hasn't showed up with anything that I'm chasing. In fact, I don't think there's anything that I am chasing anymore, which is nice. On the other hand, I know there's people that just want like one of everything. And I
Yeah.
think in this kind of game, you'll probably be disappointed wanting one of everything. And I think that was, I was really disappointed when I seen that the sticker book got turned down in the poll for having like unique stickers. And I think it was this attitude of, if I can't have something, nobody should have it. And that could be detrimental to the success of Habbo,
S-
I think. I
sounds
think
like the
Habbo
creator
thrives on having
trophies.
unique items. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Habbo thrives on being able to display your individuality. And you look on modern Habbo now, and every single person looks different because everyone has something that somebody doesn't have because they were there for a certain event or they were there for a certain rare release or a
Mm,
certain piece of clothing being released or they're an NFT. Everyone has unique individuality, and that's what people want today.
yep.
Um, to pick up on Jonas's comment, I think that is kind of what we talked about earlier, the engagement piece, and that is what's missing in
Yeah.
Origins at the minute. And again, to the fact that people with full-time jobs are able to do that, then I think it's a good expectation that Habbo Origins should be able to as well.
Can I just say, like, Sir? By the way, for anyone that doesn't know, Sir Jonas works for Sioux Lake. He mainly does Wired on the Modern Hotel. He doesn't do anything here on Origins. I like that the fact that he wrote a comment like that. You know what I mean? It's like recognizing, an opportunity and acknowledging it and also recognizing what another quote unquote competitor, even though they're doing it illegally, are essentially doing, right?
Mhm.
And I do appreciate that comment, and Sir Jonas, appreciate you coming by. For anyone that hasn't listened to our episode together, I think it was episode 10, if I'm not mistaken, maybe episode 9, but it's a great podcast episode where we dive into a little bit deeper on other topics. All right, let's take a look here. Oh, this is a good question. Reese has come in. He has asked, no idea if it's been asked, but question for Matthew. Are there any UI features you are working on for Origins at the moment? Now, we don't want to leak anything, but maybe Matthew, if you want to say if you are working on something.
Not a lot of the stuff that I've done recently hasn't been exciting as much as kind of the stuff that we talked about that I felt was necessary. So the reporter room is in there now, where if you see a room with like an offensive name, you can report it. It goes through the Zendesk that saves you having to like create a ticket and all that faff. Very, very similar functionality coming to post-it notes and photos. That's already being done. It's not in there yet. And then in terms of the other stuff, I'm always working on something, and I never talk about it much because not because it's under the bounty program or under any kind of NDA, but I just don't know whether it's something that Dave wants in the game. There's stuff that I've sent him and he's, said thanks and then it hasn't been used. There's other stuff I've sent him and he's had it in the next update. So I really don't know when I do something, I'm usually just doing it for fun and for learning. So there's always stuff that I'm toying with, but as to whether or not it's something you'll ever actually see, I don't know. Which is why I don't really unless I've kind of put it in front of Dave and he's got really excited and I feel like he's on board with it, then I don't tease it because there's a good chance it never ends up in there. Um, so yeah, I don't think there's anything super super exciting to share. The recent notifications panel that we added into the messenger is a part of a much bigger thing. And I
Ooh,
think
cool.
that will be exciting. And that I think that's all I can probably say on that. But I said on my own stream earlier, the notifications panel came from a much bigger idea of Jekka's. So the notification center arriving in there is actually from him and his mock-ups and a bigger idea. And that idea is still under heavy development, and I think it'll be really welcome. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that one. But yes, is the short answer. There is UI stuff being worked on. And it's such a fun UI to play with because it's old, it's Habbo, and I think it's just kind of starting to find its voice. As more things have been introduced, it's like, well, here's the bulletin that Dreads designed, so carefully the UI for, and it's a different color, right? It's not that green window style that we see all around Habbo, but it fits in so well. It's got like that brown window style. Then we have the gardening window has just come in. It has the good classic feeling, but
Mm.
again, it's never been seen before. And I think that's really exciting that it's kind of like starting to get an identity beyond the green window, but it's still maintaining that aesthetic. And it's something, that I know Dave McElby Dom is really passionate and protective over. I've sent him stuff. One of the things actually, there was a lot of work, whether people know it or not, there was a lot of work went into the messenger recently so that when you scroll, you don't get like this phantom interface in
Oh,
and
I've
stuff like
noticed that.
that. And
Yeah, it's good now.
um, there's a lot of like under the hood things. And one of the I said about, things that I've done that has never made it in. Like one of the things I did was it elongated the messenger window, just so that you can get more information on there. So you could write a longer message. You can see more online friends in one space. I didn't make it
Hmm.
wider, just longer. And he was like, absolutely not. Like it's too modern. And I was like, but phone screens got bigger, right? Like if you look at the history of phones, we went from the tiniest phones to slide phones to eventually iPhones that got bigger and bigger
Mm.
and bigger. And he was just like, no, absolutely not. I hate it. And I like that. I like that, the despite what people think about, it's getting closer to Habbo or this Fernie doesn't match or whatever, there is a real passion for protecting the aesthetic of it, and I love that.
What about scrolling in console messages? Have you thought about that?
Scrolling with your oh yeah, because you want to scroll with your mouse wheel, right?
No, no, no,
Um,
no, no, no. But what I mean, like, oh, that's another thing I want. But let's face it, I can live without it. But no, no. My comment is the messages. Like, have you thought about like if you want to write a longer message, then
I don't.
then is that possible? You think?
I think it's possible. I think what I have come to understand, and what I think has been really evident in the last year is anything is possible, right? Like this time a year ago, I don't think the capabilities of the engine were known, and I think they were, still figuring out how to add a new item of furniture into the game, like a brand new item of furniture. We've seen the release of cabin, and that
Mm,
was like groundbreaking. It was shaking up what we knew of this client of 20 years. I think now there's like a level of confidence that pretty much anything is possible, but it's whether or not it should happen. And I think when you start to talk about that, well, then you go, well, what is the point of the messenger, right? And these are then the conversations that are had is it's to share short pieces of information. And actually, is it better if you have a lot to say to just go and visit that person in their room and tell them it? So I guess
true.
the implications of like a longer message is, well, how does that compromise the social experience, if at all, or how does it enhance the social experience? And I think that's the bigger thing that I always love thinking about. When people say like, "Is this possible?" or "Should this happen?" and it's like, well, everything is possible, but whether or not it should happen is another question.
True. That's
And there's
valid.
definitely things that have happened that I don't think potentially should have happened. And I think that's why anything that I've ever delivered to the game, it's always been quality of life things rather than like over hands or change in functionality. So it's adding a search to the Fernie. That was quality of life. Showing a password whenever you're typing it in, that's quality of life. Those things, they're not going to change how the game functions. But some of those other decisions, they could they could make or break some of the social dynamics. And I know that's always a thought that's happening as well. And I love that those thoughts happen. And I think people don't get that. You know, there's some people don't get that when they put these feedback ideas in. They say, I put this feedback idea in and nobody's listening. And, it must be so easy for them to do. And I'm like, I guarantee it's been thought about. And I guarantee there's a really good reason for not doing it. Um, because they just Habbo know this better than us. They know they have the 25 years experience that they know that moving a button from the left-hand side of the screen to the right changes how somebody interacts with an interface and how they might purchase and how they might, do you know what I mean? There's so
Hmm.
many elements um that I think, yeah, I went a really long way there from a longer console message, but I I love how those thoughts develop. Well, if you allow somebody to send a longer console message, what does that mean? Um, and it could mean great things, or it could mean, as Wilf is saying here in chat, that the abusive messages from people like Zombie get longer and more abusive. So there's definitely trade-offs.
Yeah, no, I think there's a pro and con with potentially like a lot of decisions that go into the game. So I see your point. And I think for me, like a feature like a scroll and a message, I personally would want, but I can live either way. Like I see your point. It's like, okay, let's keep it concise. Let's keep the conversations and longer messages in the game, like in the rooms,
Yeah.
like where it belongs. So I see that and I believe that's valid. The last point I wanna touch on before we close things out. This has been a long podcast, but I wanted to, give about 2 hours in this podcast. Let's face it,
We have
Matthew
so much. I don't
talks.
even think we've
We do.
touched on it.
We
Like,
haven't
there's so
actually.
much more I think we can talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah. There's so much a lot, and who knows? Maybe we'll get Matthew back in. There is something that I'm planning in the near future, after a few more guests, is to do something called a community roundtable. I brought this up to Wilf during the podcast last week, but I want to have like a couple individuals, and then all of us kind of just have a roundtable on a specific topic. Not like this where we're diving in deep, like about your feedback and your opinion on certain things, but like one topic, what does that look like, and then we just dissect it together, and then we
Yeah, I
just
love
go back and
that.
forth,
We
right?
do that in Soapbox. Well, sometimes we try to like keep it on one topic,
Hmm.
and I love that. I love really getting in on something,
Yeah, there's like
and
one big
into the weeds of
one.
one topic. Yeah.
Exactly, and then have a couple people that and let's face it, I want to have the streamers or the people with good mics, right, that are willing to be there, and then having like yourself and Wilf and a couple others, like 4 to 5 people, and just talking it out
Yeah, but
essentially.
I also think, and just food for thought,
Hmm.
and certainly through like Soapbox and stuff, the best opinions to me have often come from the quietest people. I don't know what it is about this soapbox. They queue up and they get on the stand and then they come out with something. And I've seen people that don't have a platform, for want of a better word, come out with some really freaking amazing ideas or really incredible takes on things, but they don't have that platform, whether it's social media or a stream or something like that, to do that. And I
True,
wonder how
true.
interesting that is. They may not have the confidence to come on and do a voice chat or something like that, which I completely
Or
understand.
we could have like a box, like a survey or a form or something, and then let people like fill it, like either in Discord or wherever, and then we can bring that up during the community roundtable, so that way people do have a voice within something like that. Because I do want to have
Mhm.
something where it's kind of like your soapbox approach, where people are typing in the room, but I wanted more in the voice side with like more people. So we'll test it out. It's an idea, and it looks like Wolf is saying he's busy that day. That's hilarious. So we'll see what that
Yeah,
that looks like.
yeah, like something I would love to do is be the voice. I would love to be the voice of someone else. And we did this. I did a thing, an experiment a couple of months ago called Split Box, right? And the idea was just you come on, you're given, the day before you're given a topic that you have to argue whether you agree with it or not. And we used to do this in school, right? We would debate topics like, I don't really controversial things like abortion or something really extreme, and you had to argue the opposite side. And it was to give you that skill of like, debating healthily. And I would love like somebody to give me their really hot take and say, take that on and convince people that my hot take is the right one. So I think I mean, that's a different format again, but I think that would be really interesting. Like, let's take the hot takes of community members and let's fight for them. And let's, even if you don't agree with it, can you make a good argument? I don't know. I just love debates and arguments.
It suits you like it because I'll notice your debates like on Discord, and you battle it out, man. You bring it in,
Yeah.
you're down to listen to what the other side says, but you're not gonna hold back either. And I always bring in, and everyone knows me for it, is like my popcorn emojis, man. Although they now I can't use my own popcorn emojis, but it's fine. But I'll pop in and be like, and it's usually when I'm waking up in the morning because I miss everything you guys talk about, and then I walk in and I'm just like, oh, I'm seeing the ending of this. Let me just bring my popcorn out. So
And it always looks like I'm having beef. And I think, if people, when you hear my tone of voice, you know that very often it's either not serious or like I don't care that deeply. I'm just trying to give you another perspective. And I find it really difficult when people like lock down and stick their heels in and they're not willing to like open up their view on something. Like I will sit and I will listen and I will take all of your opinions and I'll say, yeah, but have you considered X, Y, and Z? And they're like, no, I don't want to consider that. And it's when it gets to that stage that I'm like, well, why am I wasting my time? You can't. I just want someone to debate with me hard and proper. Give me a good run for it, but don't get like, there's no need to get personal. There's no need to make it a big deal. We can still be friends after it. I just love a good adult discussion around anything, really.
I love it. And then Jekka here is you're always beefing. It's true.
It is
um,
true. It
but
is.
you know what? Maybe one day, Matthew, you and I can choose. You know, we'll let the audience choose a specific like topic. Maybe it's on Steam, or maybe it's a feature or something. And then you and
Yeah.
I can choose whatever side, and we'll battle it out like and we'll have like maybe Wilf be the judge or something on the sideline. Who knows? But no, I think this was a good podcast. I hope everyone enjoyed all of the different topics and the different conversations we gathered. We talked about a lot of different things, but I think it all comes down to one key focus is that we do want the game to improve. And I wrote this in my letter in the creator circle side is like, we do understand that the game is heading to a very different direction than what we're accustomed to, but there's a lot of good focuses. It's way better than last year, and it's time to see, what's the next step and see what that looks like on the other side, and looking forward to it for the most part. And hopefully the improvements for live ops and moderation come with it, and we'll cross our fingers on that one. But most importantly, Matthew, thank you very, very much for taking the time. I know we've been here for about 2 hours here, a little over 2 hours. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on and speaking your truth and your mind, and I think we had a good back and forth on certain topics. So I think it was a healthy conversation.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it, and there's still so much left unsaid. I think if I leave people with like one thought is, you know, don't take Habbo so seriously. It is just, and it does get serious, right? If you get involved in harassment, so there is serious aspects, of course, but just don't take it so seriously. It's a game. There's other options. Take a break. Don't make a big song and dance about it that you're leaving. Just go and play something else for a day or two. See if you feel like coming back, and just chill out, right? Like just chill out.
And you could do what Matthew's saying, but like I said in the beginning, if you want to quit, quit. Give me all your Fernie. I'll take all of it. No worries at all. But I do want to read out a comment here from Sir Jonas. He wrote this amazing work on Origins, Matthew. We need some people like you for Classic. That's huge. That's
Thank you, thank you.
That's a very nice comment coming from him. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Let's give a few shout outs here. We got Jekka, we got Andy, aka Starcaller, we got Wilf. We got Corrupted Document. Who's Corrupted Document? Who's that? Is that Kerplunk?
I was guessing it was document. User
Document? Oh, okay.
document.
Oh, document. Okay,
But
there you
I'm
go.
not
Thank
sure.
you. Yeah, he just said
Yeah,
that. So
it
shout out
is.
to you. Thank you so much, Murdoch, Active Girl, my boy Victor, Bab, of course. There's tons of people that supported us. Skeffridge, Wolf. The list goes on. Reese. W. Thank you so much for supporting the stream and supporting each of these episodes. For the next one, I think I might skip next week. We'll see, but I do plan to have Professor Oak being the next one. So looking forward to
Is he
seeing
gonna
what that.
give up his identity as a part? I suppose his voice won't give him
No,
like his voice won't give him away, right?
I don't think so. I don't think I remember
Because
him ever
nobody knows
being
his voice at the real as
exactly.
the yeah as what he was. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're good there. But yeah, no. Just to make it clear for everyone, we will not reveal who Professor Oak is. That's not the goal of the podcast. It's just to dive deeper in terms of like what he brought last year, and I think that's going to be exciting. And just kind of see what he's all
And
about.
it's interesting. Sorry, every time we wrap up, I keep talking,
No,
but
it's all good. It's all
it's
good.
interesting because I think it's good. Like it's funny, right? Because Bob Barker, I think, was like the first like pseudonym that we didn't know who he was and who is this
hmm
person that's being really generous. And I know him. I know what his old name was. I know what his real name is. I still call him Bob. He's Bob to me, right? And I think Professor Oak is similar in that it doesn't matter who they were before. It doesn't even matter if they play on another account and you know them as someone else. It matters what you know of Professor Oak. And the friendship I made was like with Bob Barker, not with who his real life persona or whatever. And I think I love when people have these characters where we don't need to know who they are. It's totally fine not to know who they are. And that Lady Pixlington felt like that at one point. I was like, nobody needs to know who she is. They can guess, but it doesn't matter. And so yeah, I think it's important to not care who he is, just enjoy him for who he is.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that because I have so many questions. And you know what's funny? I know who he is, but even in my DMs, he still acts like Professor Oak. Like he still writes to me like that. He's like he does his thing, and he's a part of the role play, and he I think he loves that. And I know he watches the stream and the podcast as well, and he'll message me on the side saying that he likes it. So huge shout out to him if you're listening to this specific episode. But I'm looking forward to that
He better
podcast
be.
because it'll be different, and we are gonna have Bob Barker as well for anyone wondering. But Bob Barker has agreed. But what I'm trying to have him do, because in case anyone's wondering why we haven't had him on, because he was part of Ducky World, obviously, and he still supports us on the side. I'm trying to get him to use a voiceover. I want him to sound like Bob Barker, but I don't know if that's a bad thing to do because obviously the real
He's
Bob
dead.
Barker has passed away. So I think that might be a little bit weird or like offensive. So
There will be a
we're
way
gonna
to
toy
do
it.
it tastefully. I mean, Bob puts out amazing videos with Bob Barker's voice, and it's so tasteful and so well done that I don't think it's possible to be offensive. I think there'll be no worries there. He
Yeah.
but yeah, it's funny because you said about Professor Oak keeping up the role play in DMs, and I think Bob tried to do that for a while, and now
Hmm.
it's all out the window, and everyone just knows Bob is filthy mouthed fishing man.
The Derby guy. He's gonna be the gardening Derby next, right? So he's
He
been killing it,
is.
So
I can't wait to see how he does that.
no, you know what? There's so many people that bring a lot to the table, and how can I forget? Will, huge shout out to you running the community day yesterday. I believe you and Boba like planned that all out. Thank you for not giving up on an event and canceling it. Thank you for like sticking to it. But jokes aside, huge Boba did fuck all. But huge shout out to you, man. Like I know you do a lot. Oh wow, I'm kidding. I'm actually kidding. But
I'm not.
he's not. But huge shout out to you because one thing I admire about your events is like you do the artwork, and I love the artwork, and I admire that and how you put things together. Unfortunately, I wasn't there because I was at work, but I heard nothing but good things. And I was actually looking at the feedback you were getting on your event, and because I want to look at everyone's feedback for all events and see how we can do it on the Creator Circle side. So you killed it, man, from what I saw. So kudos to you, and kudos to anyone that's planning anything like that in the near future. But I know we keep talking, even though we were wrapping up about 15 minutes ago. I think one thing about Matthew and I that we can talk, and we could talk about a lot of things, and we can go on and on and on. So Matthew, I will definitely invite you again in the near future. I think it would be fun to do something maybe around Halloween. I think it'd be fun and exciting. We can dive in deeper, seeing what the next couple months look like. But it was honestly a huge pleasure, man. Huge pleasure. We talked about a lot of serious
Likewise.
stuff.
Thank
It
you
was
so
fun, man.
much.
It was fun. Other than that, everyone hit that follow, sub, do all that good stuff. I'll do all the free stuff. You don't have to give me your money. Give Matthew, Boba, Wilf, give them your money, and give Bob Barker your money. Don't worry about me, but hit that follow. Make sure. There you go, Sir Jonas. You did. I can't believe you weren't following beforehand. How dare you? How dare you? But jokes aside, thank you so much, everyone. We're gonna end it right here. I'll post it on YouTube later. I'm just going to cut out the dead parts. But most importantly, we see you next time with Professor Oak. And yeah, thanks again for watching. And by the way, everyone, I'm going to enter here in the chat. That is Matthew's Twitch. Make sure that you hit him a follow as well. He also is on X as well, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So support him on Instagram, all his other good stuff. He's been here for a very long time. This is our longest podcast yet. Okay. All right, that's it, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.